Chapter 1292. A few terrifying energy shockwaves erupted. The black and white waves of Yuan Qi surged wildly in all directions. The surrounding demonic fog tumbled, and the ripples were like huge waves surging into the distance. The spinning hammer stopped. The distorted shadow outside twisted endlessly, slowing down the pure purple double-sided axe and the three-headed dragon's dagger. Fortunately, the Swanee Dragon King's golden whip followed closely behind, shattering the invisible force field. The four Dharma treasures worked together to block the hammer's attack. The two sides were in a stalemate. However, it could be seen that the pseudo-soul formation cultivator's Dharma treasures had a slight advantage. They were slowly pushing the huge demonic tool back. On the other side, the Black Wind Demon King personally wielded a 3-meter-long demonic blade light. It first slammed into the mountain shadow of the ring of mountain suppression. The two sides were in a stalemate for a moment before it was shattered. Then, the half-dimmed blade light hit Zhiyuan's Kasaya. This golden-edged Kasaya shone with a dark golden light. A huge Buddhist swastika rose up. As soon as it appeared, it exploded. Under the bright dark golden light, the black blade light quickly weakened. The remaining saber light was blocked by a green wooden shield that shot over. The Fire Spirit Knight and the others also noticed the black shadow that suddenly appeared behind them. However, they were focused on the Black Wind Demon King in front of them. They didn't have time to help. Fortunately, Wu Wenxuan had refined the Demon King armor in advance. His entire body was covered in a layer of purplish-black scale armor, even his head was covered. The pair of exquisite black short axes were chopping at his shoulders, barely penetrating the scales a little. However, before he could breathe a sigh of relief, a purplish-black lightning-like energy suddenly surged out of the short axe on his shoulders. It seemed to ignore the Demon King armor as it directly pierced through it and surged into his avatar. Then, this pseudo-soul formation cultivator of the demonic Tao felt every inch of his flesh become extremely hot. An explosive energy surged out from all parts of his body. No! Wu Wenxuan was extremely terrified. In the next moment, his body turned into a cloud of blood mist under the impact of this energy. The purplish-black scale armor collapsed inwards, wrapping around a 1-foot-tall nascent soul. However, just as he was about to perform his teleportation, the surrounding air suddenly became dense, and an endless force squeezed inwards, directly interrupting his teleportation. At the same time, a will that was several times more solid than normal true demon intent rushed towards his soul. Fortunately, Wu Wenxuan's essence spirit pill had not lost its effect, so his will was extremely pure and was not affected. The Devil Essence Saber that he had originally used to attack the Black Wind Demon King had been recalled the moment he had been ambushed. At this moment, it just happened to roll back. The powerful Yuan Qi manifestation power blasted a small gap in the surrounding compression force field. A black light flashed, and Wu Wenxuan's nascent soul, which was wrapped in purplish-black scales, leaped into the devilish mist in the distance and disappeared. This guy is quite alert. Xue Qi's strong, black-scaled demonic body was standing right in front of Wu Wenxuan. A hint of regret flashed in his eyes. If Xue Qi's nascent soul tried to teleport to the other pseudo-divine transformation realm experts, he would be intercepted directly. That armor refined from the Demon King's flesh still has remnants of my demonic energy. A mere pseudo-divine transformation realm expert cannot escape from the nightmare mist. It's very easy to track him down. This thought flashed through Xue Qi's mind. Holding a pair of short axes in his hands, he turned around and looked at the remaining 7 human cultivators with a playful look in his eyes. On the other side, the Black Wind Demon King had ended this wave of attack. He held a round-headed iron hammer and a black demonic saber in his hands respectively. Looking at the panicked pseudo-divine transformation realm experts, he licked his lips as if he was looking at dead people. As for the slope in the distance, those few low-level demons had already been shattered along with the formation by the chaotic origin sword and the Vajra ring. However, the purplish-black devilish mist in the surroundings was still rolling without any signs of dissipating. Seeing this scene, the pseudo-divine transformation realm experts all understood that they had been fooled by the Black Wind Demon King. The formation on the slope had nothing to do with the surrounding mist. On one hand, the Demon King was guarding there to attract their attention so that they could focus their defense on the front and ignore the back. On the other hand, the Demon King wanted to take advantage of the time when everyone was attacking the formation with their Dharma treasures to rush out and catch them off guard. The pseudo-divine transformation realm experts looked very serious. They had already adjusted their formation. The 7 of them had their backs close to each other. A circle of defensive Dharma treasures surrounded them while the offensive Dharma treasures floated above their head. They were either standing with their hands behind their backs or hiding their hands in their sleeve. They were secretly absorbing the supreme-grade spirit stones in their storage bracelets to replenish their true essence. Looking at the extremely muscular black scale demon behind him, Fire Spirit Lord said in a deep voice, "We miscalculated. I didn't expect that it would only take 2 days for a peak demon general to break through to the Demon King realm." Hearing this, the blood-weeping Demon King didn't seem to be in a hurry to attack. Instead, he said arrogantly, "The Demon King realm naturally takes a long time to break through. However, I have broken through to the pseudo-Demon Emperor realm. Although my realm is equivalent to the late stage of the Demon General realm, my combat ability is no weaker than a Demon King's." Hearing the 2 words, Demon Emperor, the pseudo-divine transformation realm experts' expressions changed drastically. There was even a hint of despair in their eyes. According to the information they knew about the demon race, the Demon Emperor was an alternative cultivation group of the demon race. They focused on the cultivation of the physical body. Although their realm was similar to that of the Demon King, their combat ability was 1 level higher. More importantly, the Demon Emperor could control the demon's spiritual vitality at the same time. Their combat ability in the immortal realm was much stronger than that of the Demon King. The battlefield in the ancient times was like the Broken Kingdom. It was filled with demons' spiritual vitality. In that kind of environment, even a middle divine transformation realm expert would find it extremely difficult to fight against a Demon Emperor. Looking at the expressions of those humans, the blood-weeping Demon King laughed wildly. "Today, I will show you weak pseudo-divine transformation realm human pseudo-divine transformation realm experts how terrifying a pseudo-demon emperor of the same realm can be." As he spoke, the twisted air around him collapsed inwards. Wisps of purple-black lightning shot out from his muscles. The invisible power of his body fused with these lightning bolts, forming a layer of purple-black light film on his scales. The demonic fog behind him began to surge violently. Dense demon spiritual vitality surged toward him. Not only that, but the Silver Valley below was also affected. Dense white spiritual vitality surged out. When he activated the demon's spiritual vitality, he didn't seem to use the true demon intent. It was as if the control of the spiritual vitality had nothing to do with his willpower. It was as if he was using the purple-black film of light on the surface of his body to activate it. The 2 types of spiritual vitality converged and merged on the 2 short axes in a special way. They formed 2 purple-black axes that were several feet thick. A terrifying destructive aura surged inside. Sensing this fluctuation, the Black Wind Demon King's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. He shook his arm and also activated the demon's spiritual vitality in the demonic fog behind him. The round-headed iron hammer and the black demonic saber lit up with a deep black light. A demon king and a pseudo-demon emperor rushed forward one after the other. They held weapons with both hands and wielded them with their powerful physical bodies. The 4 demonic artifacts turned into afterimages of spiritual vitality and bombarded the defensive magic treasures of the pseudo-divine transformation realm expert. Boom, boom, boom. Although the power of the 2 demons was shocking, Flame Spirit Sage, and the others had 7 people after all. Under full defense, they could barely block it. However, facing the demon clan's demon weapon, wave after wave of attacks, they had no choice but to use their true essence. After switching from offense to defense, the situation was completely reversed. It was the demons who were consuming the spiritual vitality of the pseudo-divine transformation realm expert. Although Fire Spirit Knight and the others knew about the fighting style of the demon kings from the ancient books, they couldn't adapt to such a fast attack rhythm. Their spiritual vitality was quickly consumed. Moreover, because Xueqi, the pseudo-demon emperor, was mobilizing the spiritual vitality of heaven and earth, the blue light ball in the Silver Valley was squeezing out at an even faster speed. The next demon king would be able to cross the boundary very soon in the demonic fog. Wu Wenxuan's 1-foot-tall nascent soul was wearing a mini purple-black scale armor. It held the demon essence saber in its small hand and flew carefully. Its divine sense would check behind it from time to time. Even if the effect of the spiritual origin pill was not gone, its divine sense could not explore too far in this strange fog. It could only barely keep its mind clear and not fall into a nightmare illusion. There are 2 demon kings. Plus, the third one is about to be teleported. The space seal can't be maintained. It's better to escape first and save my life. Wu Wenxuan was still a little scared at this time. Although he knew that the demon kings could restrain the demon Dao cultivators to a certain extent, he didn't expect it to be so obvious. The energy attack of the other party directly penetrated his defense, and its willpower completely crushed him. If it weren't for the effect of the spiritual origin pill that allowed him to resist the true demon intent of the other party, he might not have been able to escape. Fortunately, I have a trick up my sleeve, Wu Wenxuan thought to himself while sensing the marks he had left before. He was different from the other pseudo-divine transformation realm experts. He could control the demon essence qi. Therefore, every time he passed by a space crack in the demonic fog, he would secretly leave a mark. Following these marks, he should be able to find the route he came from. Relying on these senses and the clarity of his divine sense, Wu Wenxuan's little nascent soul was not slow. It didn't take long for it to reach the space crack that he had marked at the beginning, but it was still in the demonic fog. This strange fog is spreading outwards. This is the place where we first came. If we go further, it will be the area of the fog that has spread in the past 2 days. I can only calculate slowly. But when Wu Wenxuan's nascent soul's little hand was making a spell, he suddenly felt a firm and unyielding willpower from the outside. Whose willpower is this? Wu Wenxuan was shocked. His divine sense surged. Just when he was about to touch it, he felt an invisible force more terrifying than the Demon King just now squeezing him and binding him to the spot. The power was so terrifying that even the purple Demon King armor outside his body was making creaking sound. Hey, isn't this Wu Wenxuan? Why is there only the nascent soul left? A burly man in a black suit slowly walked out of the purplish-black fog in front of them and clicked his tongue as he spoke. After Wu Wenxuan saw the man's face, he panicked and shouted, "Master Lu!" Chapter 1293. Above the Silver Valley, the majestic roars and the shock waves of primordial qi never stopped. If it weren't for the nightmare fog and the solid space seal, the area within a radius of nearly 100 miles would have been flattened. Several pseudo-divine transformation realm experts were pale and despair flashed in their eyes. They had almost used all their trump cards and even hit the Demon King with many magical powers, but it didn't affect the Demon King's combat power. Black Wind Demon King's scales were a little broken and the bone spur on his right shoulder was also broken. As for Xueqi, the pseudo-Demon King, after his body was injured, the purple-black lightning flowed between his muscles for a moment and he recovered as if he had an indestructible body. Boom! At the edge of the Silver Valley, the constantly moving blue light ball finally squeezed out. The light dissipated, revealing a slender body. It was a female demon. This female demon king was 8 feet tall with a curvy figure. Her whole body was covered with light purple scales like a close-fitting inner armor, outlining her exquisite body. There were 2 sharp horns in her short purple hair. The scales on her face were sparse, like some kind of special totem, giving people a strange sense of temptation. Tsk, Shweching, you actually broke through to the pseudo-demon king. When will you get close to me? Even your father, Shwechi, was almost tempted by me. A charming voice came from the purple lips of the female demon king. Shwechi continued to attack with his double axes and said with a bit of disdain in his eyes, Zitong, my father didn't look for you back then because your physical aptitude was mediocre and you couldn't give birth to a child with high aptitude. Now that I have become a pseudo-demon king, mating with you is a complete waste of blood essence. Hearing this, Zitong demon king curled her lips and said, You're the same as your father, not the least bit interesting. Is mating just for the sake of producing children? Shwechi didn't pay attention to her words. He suddenly stepped back and said, These pseudo-divine transformation realm experts are almost exhausted. I'll leave them to you. I'll go after the escaped demon infant of the human clan. After that, he put away the short axes in his hand and rushed into the demon fog in a flash. Seeing this, Purple Tongue Demon King snorted. A giant saber that was almost the size of her body appeared in her hand. The devil chi in her body surged. Along with a black saber light that was several feet long, she slashed at those false divine transformation realm experts who were trying their best to defend. On the other side, the Black Wind Demon King looked at Bloodsob's back with a strange expression. When Bloodsob had attacked Wu Wenshuan, he had sensed the pure true demon will. A peak middle stage demon general, even if his mortal body was extremely talented, without soaking in the water of true demon, there was no way for him to possess the true demon intent. But now that several people had said that Shwechi's essence spirit was like a lamp without oil, Lin Ming had other speculations in his heart. However, these thoughts only flashed through his mind for a moment. The most important thing was the human pseudo-soul formation stage cultivator in front of him. The reason why they were dragging this out was because they wanted to capture his nascent soul alive. Otherwise, if the 3 fiend kings attacked together, those pseudo-soul formation stage human cultivators might detonate their nascent souls in desperation. If that happened, they would lose all their loot. As expected, after seeing the pseudo-soul fiend king leave, Fire Spirit Knight and the others felt that they had recovered a lot of their spiritual primordial chi. Some hope appeared in their eyes. There were 3 fiend kings in total. The space seal would definitely be destroyed by the fiends. Now that there was a chance, they naturally had to find a way to save their lives. They secretly communicated with each other, planning to use their remaining spiritual primordial chi to give it a try. Bloodsob flew in the purple-black fiend mist. His thoughts were the same as Black Wind's. He could not let those people detonate themselves. The nascent souls of soul formation stage human cultivators were great supplements that could greatly improve the cultivation of fiend energies. He entered the fiend mist for 2 reasons. On the one hand, he wanted to capture the nascent soul of the human cultivators. On the other hand, he wanted to hide in the mist of nightmare. If those pseudo-soul formation stage human cultivators managed to escape, then this would be his home ground. In this place, Bloodsob's nascent soul condensed from the essence spirit of a late-stage fiend king had a large detection range. The other 2 fiend kings were both early-stage fiend kings. Their detection range was much smaller than his. The true demon will in that human cultivator's body is a bit solid. It seems to be stimulated by some secret technique. He should not be affected by the nightmare illusion. With this thought in mind, Bloodsob secretly mobilized the fiend energies in his body. Purple-black lightning flashed on the surface of his muscles as he sensed carefully. He seems to be very close. Although the solid will can resist the nightmare illusion, The consciousness of an early-stage soul formation stage cultivator cannot see through the mirage illusion here. We have the mark of Lord Demon Lord, so we are not affected at all. A scale on Bloodsob's forehead flashed with a faint purple light. In order to avoid alerting the enemy, he withdrew his consciousness and flew slowly by relying on his naked eyes and sensing his fiend energies. After a while, he arrived near his target. Through the mirage of a mountain peak, he looked over and couldn't help but be stunned. On the other side of the illusion, a burly man in black clothes stood quietly. The clothes he was wearing seemed to be a treasure. They emitted a faint light to resist the fiend mist's invasion. He was holding a purple-black scale armor in his right hand and a nascent soul wrapped in gray powder in his left hand. Only a pair of pitiful eyes could be seen, flashing with a pleading look. Another human soul formation stage cultivator is here? Bloodsob looked at this scene and made a judgment in his heart. It seemed that the nascent soul of this soul formation stage cultivator happened to meet this man and was restrained by him. Someone who had the strength to restrain a soul formation stage cultivator was obviously a soul formation stage cultivator. He walked forward slowly under the cover of the illusion. Intermittent voices also came to his ears. The burly man cursed, "Wu Wenshuan, didn't you say you would leave a mark? Why are you still walking around in this fog?" The nascent soul wrapped in gray powder didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I can't use any vital essence now. How can I sense the mark? As long as Master Lu releases the restraint, I can point out the direction." Two fiend kings suddenly appeared in the space seal. Fellow Taoist Huoling and the others must be in a tough battle. The third fiend king will be teleported here soon. If we wait any longer, it will be too late. The burly man sneered and said, "I don't believe you. You've attacked Lu again and again. How do I know if you've set up an ambush again? Okay, I'll find a way out myself. You'd better have a good rest." While speaking, he took out a black stone box and put the gray nascent soul in it. He put it away together with the fiend king armor. Then, a stubborn and unyielding willpower began to explore the surroundings. The willpower. He is indeed a pseudo-soul formation stage cultivator. Bloodsob was slightly surprised, but then he found that the man's divine consciousness was distorted by the mirage mountain in front of him and could not scan him. He didn't fall into a nightmare illusion. This person's willpower is quite pure. It seems that I'm lucky to be able to harvest another nascent soul formation stage cultivator. As long as I demonize him, I can absorb the energy source inside. Bloodsob looked excited. Although he didn't need to continue to cultivate after entering the pseudo-soul formation stage, the difficulty of breaking through to the pseudo-soul formation stage was astonishing. There would be a thunder tribulation. The more nascent soul formation stage cultivators he had, the more demonic energy he could replenish, and the chances of breaking through would be much higher. Thinking of this, under the cover of the Mirage Mountain illusion, he crawled and approached the back of the burly man, and the other party seemed to be confused by the illusion. He leaned on the illusion rock and used his divine consciousness to explore forward. His fingers were also pinching at a very fast speed, as if he was performing an extremely complicated calculation. A perfect opportunity for a sneak attack. Bloodsob's eyes lit up. His crawling black body came to the illusion rock behind the burly man, and the purple-black lightning energy in his body gathered to his throat. Then he stretched out his hands, and an invisible squeezing force enveloped the other party. At the same time, he opened his mouth, and a barbed tongue with a purple-black halo shot towards the back of the burly man at lightning speed. The human cultivator is really careless. As long as I pierce his dantian and control his nascent soul, no matter how powerful his magic weapon is, he won't be able to use it. Hiss. What's going on? The excitement in his eyes hadn't faded when he felt that his invincible, sword-like tongue seemed to have hit an incomparably hard magic rock. Even the barbs on the tip of his tongue cracked, and an intense pain was transmitted back. Before Bloodsob could do anything else, a hard palm like steel directly grabbed his tongue that was emitting a purple-black halo, and the tight air around him suddenly shattered. A suffocating and familiar terrifying force erupted from the burly man's body. The purple-black fog nearby became tight, making an unwilling whistling sound. It was forcibly squeezed inwards, pressing down on Bloodsob's body. The burly man turned around at some point, and his other hand suddenly enlarged, turning into a few feet in size, and pinched Bloodsob's bald head. Bloodsob's eyes were bloodshot, and a large amount of purple-black lightning suddenly rolled out from his body. A strange energy spread out, and the tight air around him loosened a lot. At the same time, his spiritual sense, which contained the pure true demon intent, blasted towards the other party's head. At this time, he was half squatting, and his head was pressed down by the other party's swollen palm, which contained a power that he couldn't resist. His tongue was also pulled, but his hands were in a free state. A pair of short axes suddenly appeared in his hands, surrounded by a thick layer of purple-black lightning. The isolated demon Yuan Qi in the surroundings also seemed to break free and gathered towards the axes. Bloodsob's arm muscles twisted, and he fiercely chopped towards the other party's waist. The burly man had no intention of dodging. Layers of silver light appeared around his waist, exuding a terrifying power of qi and blood. This blood was like water condensed into ice, turning into a solid state. It was as if a layer of bone armor had grown over his skin. Immediately afterward, the burly man's hands exerted force at the same time, and Bloodsob felt an irresistible force acting on his tongue. His head was pressed down, and the tough root of his tongue in his throat was constantly stretched. At this time, the pair of short axes also blasted into the other party's waist, but under the violent power of the attack, the outer layer of bone armor first cracked, but then it was repaired by a steady stream of silver liquid inside. The attack of the two demon weapons didn't even break the other party's defense. Bloodsob showed a fierce expression and withdrew the purple-black energy on his tongue. His tongue lost its protection and broke. Then he felt that the burly man's strength seemed to be out of control, and he staggered backwards, his left hand also leaving his head. So, Bloodsob borrowed the air waves from the two axes and the recoil force of the other party's sudden release. His huge black body flashed with purple-black lightning, and he rolled and crawled behind the mirage illusion. Chapter 1294. The Power of the Devil Emperor. It's actually the power of the Devil Emperor. Blood Weeping hid behind a mirage illusion and looked at the burly man who stood not far away without moving. His mood fluctuated. The terrifying power that crushed him just now had definitely reached the level of the Devil Emperor. What horrified him was that in addition to this terrifying power, the other party also displayed a power boundary. If it weren't for the power of will, Blood Weeping would even think that he had encountered a Devil Emperor. In addition, the demonic energy in his body also sensed that there was a special energy in the other party's body, as if it was full of a destructive aura, which seemed to be more overbearing than the demonic energy in his body. Just as Blood Weeping was observing in secret, the palm of the burly man holding the black tongue suddenly split open a hole. Tiny purple-black tentacles gushed out of it, like teeth on the palm, and gnawed the 3-feet-long tongue. Blood Weeping soon found that he had lost the sense of this tongue. He couldn't help but speak in the language of the immortal cultivation world. His voice was still a little vague. "What race are you?" When the burly man heard this voice, he looked around, seemingly looking for the location, but because of the illusion, he didn't find anything. Then he slowly said, "Lu is naturally a human." Impossible. Blood Weeping felt that his IQ had been insulted. How could a human have such a strong physical body? Could the palm grow black tentacles and sharp teeth and eat his tongue as food? This guy was obviously a monster in human skin. When the burly man heard this, he didn't say much, but said with some curiosity, "Looking at your appearance and magical power, you seem to be the Devil King of the Devil race. What kind of energy is that purple-black lightning? It can break free from Lu's source force field." Source force field. Blood Weeping was silent. This word should refer to the power boundary. After a short fight, he knew very well that the other party had the power of the Devil Emperor level and suppressed him in strength. Although he had the help of the source energy of the demonic energy, who knew if the other party had other magical powers? In a one-on-one fight, he was definitely not the opponent of the other party. Bloodsob thought back to the scene where the other party had swallowed his tongue, and a chill appeared in his heart. He didn't say anything and quickly left under the cover of Fata Morgana. That demonic nascent soul from before seemed to know the route. Who knows how long this monster will be trapped here? We can't drag this out any longer. We have to break the spatial seal immediately. As long as the Holy World's army comes, we won't be afraid of any monster. Xue Qi's expression was solemn, and his figure soon disappeared into the fog. The burly man was naturally Lu Kuan. After the other party left, his wandering eyes stopped in the direction Bloodsob had left, as if he could sense the other party through the illusion. Is this the Devil King? My blood is in his hands. It seems that old demon Xingyun and the guy from the Prime Devil sect were killed by him. No wonder I didn't encounter any other pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators. While thinking, Lu Kuan continued to sense the direction of the blood. His figure flashed as he flew forward. Those distorted Fata Morgana illusions crashed into the distorted force field outside his body that contained the full prime force, leaving a hole. They couldn't stop him at all. Just as he was tracking, Hong Yuntian's excited voice came from his body. Lu Kuan, this isn't the Devil King. It's the kind of devil who comprehended the origin power of the physical body at the late stage of Devil General. Lu Kuan was stunned. You mean the pseudo-devil emperor? That's right. My devil zombie is a pseudo-devil emperor. It has the same aura as the tongue just now. Lu Kuan recalled the information Wu Wenshuan revealed to him, and suddenly understood. I know. When this guy was teleported here, he wasn't a pseudo-devil emperor. He only broke through after killing old demon Xingyun and the others and swallowing their nascent souls. With this strange devil fog formation and a plan, he suppressed those pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators. I wonder how the spatial seal is now. If it's opened by the devil race, it'll be troublesome. Thinking of this, he sped up. In a part of the devil fog near the spatial seal, violent waves of vital qi kept rolling. The battle between the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators and the Devil Kings had moved to the nightmare fog. The formation of the 7 pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators also changed. The 3-headed dragon turned into a red dragon that was about 10 feet long. The other pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators sat cross-legged on its back. Swan Ni Dragon King, Gu Deming, Lord Binghua, and Emo Qing stood in the 5 elements formation. Their palms faced each other and their respective magic treasures floated above their heads. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth elemental vital qi gushed out from their bodies. With the help of their magic treasures, they formed a 5-colored light screen, enveloping everyone and the red dragon below. Ji Yuan was in the middle of everyone. She was chanting some kind of scripture. A 10-foot-long Buddhist swastika floated in the air, emitting a strong sense of mercy, resisting the strange energy in the fog. The 2 Devil Kings, Heifeng and Zitong, held their demonic weapons and kept attacking from the outside. However, this 5-colored light screen seemed to be extremely sturdy. No matter how they attacked, it could withstand it. The red dragon kept twisting its body, trying to escape into the distance. However, the 2 Devil Kings were on its 2 sides. An invisible force field pressed down on its body, slowing it down. At this moment, Xue Di flew over from afar. The pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators saw the devil race communicate with each other. Then, a devil king flew into the depths of the fog. It seemed to be going to the spatial seal, leaving the pseudo-devil emperor and the female devil king to surround them. These pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators couldn't help but fall into despair. That devil king must have gone to open the spatial seal. This 5 elements formation secret technique has the defensive power of the middle stage. However, once it's used, it can't be stopped. If we can't leave the fog when our vital chi is exhausted, we'll be dead for sure. Damn that Lu Kuan. If it weren't for the fact that my physical body was severely injured by him, I would have broken free from the Devil King's restraint. Great Spirit Lord Buddha, if you guys had cooperated with Master Lu from the beginning, you wouldn't be in this situation today. Everything has its own cause and effect. The invasion of the devil race and the suffering of the people were all caused by you guys. Hearing Ji Yuan's words, the others fell silent. It was useless to regret now. They couldn't do anything. They could only take the beating and feel the vital chi in their bodies flowing away. In the end, they could only self-detonate their nascent souls, just as their vital chi was gradually exhausted and the 5-colored light screen outside began to dim. A sigh suddenly came from the purple-black fog in the distance. Sigh, Lu came too early. If he came a little later, you guys would have died. Along with this sentence, the surrounding fog suddenly stirred. The devil Yuan chi inside gathered inwards, forming 2 black fists that were nearly 10 feet in size. One on the left and one on the right, blocking in front of the 2 devil race experts. The devil Yuan chi on the fists was incomparably solid, twisting with mysterious runes. With unparalleled power, they fiercely blasted outwards. When Xueqi heard the voice, his face changed slightly. The double axes in his hands flashed with bursts of purple-black lightning. The devil Yuan chi behind him also rushed towards him. He raised the double axes and fiercely chopped forward. Boom! In addition to the terrifying vital chi waves, there were also bursts of violent chi waves that contained terrifying power. Although Xueqi shattered the vital chi fists, his body was pushed back by the chi waves for more than 10 feet before stopping. On the other side, Purple Tong Demon King was even more miserable. Together with his body and broadsword, he was sent flying more than 20 feet away. His light purple eyes were full of shock. While the 2 devil race experts were retreating, Lu Kuan's burly body drew an arc in the fog. Accompanied by bursts of air explosions, he landed in front of the fiery red flood dragon. Seeing this man, the 7 dying pseudo-divine transformation realm experts were all shocked. Their eyes flashed with excitement. Master Lu! Master Lu, it was a misunderstanding before. Master Lu, be careful. There is a pseudo-devil emperor, a devil king, and a devil king who went to the space seal. Master Lu, if you go to the space seal now, you still have a chance to stop them. When these people saw Lu Kuan repelling the 2 devil race experts, their tone became respectful. Lu Kuan glanced back and sneered. Didn't you say that Lu is a devil? Aren't you afraid that I will go and help the Devil King break the space seal? Except for Ji Yuan and Gu Deming, the others looked a bit embarrassed. Fire Spirit Saint took a deep breath and said, "We misunderstood. As long as Master Lu stops the devil race, we will follow his lead." At the moment of life and death, Lu Kuan's appearance was the dawn of hope for these pseudo-divine transformation realm experts. The devil race didn't know, but they knew very well that Lu Kuan's strength was not inferior to a real devil king. He definitely had a chance to stop the devil race. Lu Kuan didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "Can you sense the location of the space seal?" This sentence stunned everyone. Then, they smiled bitterly. Ji Yuan said, "Pavilion Leader Lu, this fog restriction is too weird. We were able to find the space seal because of the Demon King breaking the world's space movement. I don't know if Master Lu has any magical powers." Lu Kuan looked at the 2 devils gathered in the distance. He frowned and said, It was a coincidence that I was able to find you. Right, when the Devil King breaks the space seal, will there be fluctuations? Fire Spirit Saint hesitated and said, when the space seal is broken, the spatial fluctuations will be very obvious. But at that time, the Devil Army will come. Even if we know, it will be useless. Ji Yuan said, the only thing we can do now is to leave as soon as possible and gather the strength of the immortal cultivation realm. We still have a chance to fight against the devil race. If we all die here, the immortal cultivation realm will have no power to fight back. Not far away, the two devils had already gathered together. After Blood Tears told them, Purple Tongue Demon King already knew that Lu Kuan was the monster with the physical strength of a devil king. He looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Blood Tears didn't plan to continue attacking. Now they were mainly stalling for time. The space seal was broken very quickly, and it wouldn't take too long. But when he heard the words of these people, he couldn't help but ask, are you really a human? Lu Kuan smiled slightly, revealing his white teeth, and said, of course I'm a human. Lu wanted to fight with a devil king a long time ago. I didn't expect that this time, not only a devil king, but also a fake devil king. Blood Tears' eyes were still filled with disbelief. He said coldly, this king is indeed not your opponent, but the two of us in the fog of nightmare can at least entangle you for a quarter of an hour. When the space seal is broken, a few more devil kings will come to support. Even a real devil king will not be your opponent. When Lu Kuan heard this, he raised his eyebrows and said, that is to say, Lu will spend a quarter of an hour to kill you, and then find a way to break the space seal, right? When Blood Tears and Purple Tongue Demon King heard this sentence, their expressions became furious. Arrogant. It's the first time I've seen such an arrogant human. Lu Kuan looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. I'll let you two demons see the brand new magical power Lu has comprehended after breaking through to the pseudo-divine transformation realm. As he spoke, the power of chi and blood in his body rolled violently. The muscles on both sides of his shoulders suddenly split open, revealing the silver-white bones inside. The bones of the shoulder joints were twisted, and a silver bone spur came out from inside. The bone spurs on both sides grew longer and thicker, almost the size of the arm bones, and then formed the elbow joints, forearm bones, and palm bones. At the same time, the vertebrae on his back protruded outwards, bifurcating at the thoracic vertebrae. A branch of the spine grew and climbed towards the neck. Squeezing out from the right side of the neck, clouds of silver blood twisted, forming the cervical vertebrae, and then outlined a skull. At the position of the shoulders and neck, clouds of purple-black liquid gushed out, turning into countless tiny tentacles that climbed on the newly grown silver bones, turning into small muscle fibers that intertwined with each other, turning into flesh and blood. On the right side of Lu Kuan's head, a bald, horse-faced face grew out. A stubborn and unyielding will surged out from within, and a pair of thick, sturdy arms with purplish-black scales grew out from the sides of his arms. The twisting force field that was originally outside Lu Kuan's body quickly extended outwards, from the initial 5 feet to 6 feet, 7 feet, and only stopped when it reached 8 feet. The surrounding demonic fog all boiled, and the demonic yuan qi inside turned into a thick black halo that gathered towards Lu Kuan's body. The demonic fog within a radius of 40 feet suddenly became empty. Then, the thick black halo and the 8-foot twisting force field collapsed inwards, as if the source power of the body and the demonic yuan qi had merged, forming a layer of black light membrane armor on the surface of Lu Kuan's body. Accompanied by a suffocating and terrifying pressure, Lu Kuan's original human body turned into a hideous and abominable monster. 2-headed, 4-armed. Chapter 1295. Xueqi and Zitong looked at the scene in front of them, and their demon eyes almost popped out. If their eyes weren't playing tricks on them, the second bald head that popped out had purple-black scales unique to the demon race, and so did the 2 extra arms. It looked like the body of the demon race and the human race were forcibly pieced together. Even if they had seen a lot, they still felt a little horrified in their hearts. Such a monster actually said that he was a human race. While the two Demon King powerhouses were stunned, Lu Kuan completed his transformation, and the demon Yuan Qi within a range of 40 feet around him began to riot. Xue Qi and the others were more than 20 feet away from Lu Kuan. In such a close range, they directly felt a terrifying force descending from the sky. The surrounding air suddenly tightened, not only restricting their movements, but also bringing with it a powerful suction force at the Demon Emperor level, sucking them towards the terrifying monster. The scene of his tongue being pulled out flashed through Xue Qi's mind, and his eyes became filled with horror. He couldn't even defeat 2 arms, let alone 4 now. If he was sucked into the range of Xue Qi, he would definitely be greeted with a storm of attacks. As a result, all the energy in Xue Qi's body surged, and his whole body was wrapped in thick purple-black lightning. After entering the pseudo-demon emperor realm, the demonic energy in his flesh and blood merged with the demon infant. Relying on this source of energy and 1,000,000 pounds of strength, he had a control of demon qi close to that of a demon king. In addition to his demonic energy, his spirit also began to surge. Under the eruption of the 2 kinds of energy, the surrounding squeezing force and suction force suddenly decreased greatly. Zitong was a genuine demon king. Under the surging power of her spirit, she barely controlled some of her demon Yuan Qi. Coupled with the demon Yuan in her body, she offset the surrounding force field, but her retreat was still a little slow. Fortunately, at this time, Xue Qi grabbed her wrist, and the two used their physical strength together to completely get rid of the suction force and quickly retreat. All of a sudden, an ear-piercing explosion rang out in the air not far away. Not good. Hearing this sound, Xue Qi's face suddenly changed. In a hurry, he opened his mouth and shot out a purple-black plasma, exuding a special energy aura. Just as he finished doing all this, a burly figure crashed into the plasma. His entire body was enveloped by lightning energy, and he seemed to be trapped in the middle for a moment. Hurry up and retreat. This fellow's fleshly body is monstrous. The demonic energy origin won't be able to hold him for long, Bloodsob quickly said. Purple Tong Demon King broke out in a cold sweat. How cunning. If the 2 of us were caught in the range of the other party's passive enchantment, we wouldn't be able to escape under the suppression of the 4 Demon Emperor arms. Previously, when the 2 of them were communicating, they had decided to deal with the other party as a Demon Emperor. His power boundary divine ability was almost exactly the same as a Demon Emperor's. He had a long-range boundary and a passive force field. In fact, his range was even further than an ordinary Demon Emperor's. But as he retreated, Bloodsob was horrified to discover that the other demon head had opened its mouth and sucked in the purple-black lightning. He couldn't sense the demon energy that disappeared. Damn it! Why is this guy suppressing everything? Bloodsob was aggrieved. Fortunately, the demonic energy plasma had delayed for 1 or 2 breaths of time, giving them a buffer. The other party could borrow power from the void. With the power of a Demon Emperor, his speed was naturally astonishing. The suction force within a range of 400 feet was even more terrifying. But they knew that borrowing power from the void and long-range power boundaries couldn't be used at the same time. Bloodsob and Purple Tong had both fought Demon Emperors before and knew that they couldn't be in the range of the passive force field. Otherwise, they would suffer continuous attack. Just now, they had observed that this 2-headed, 4-armed monster was 8 feet in range of the power field, which was 2 feet more than an ordinary Demon Emperor. This meant that with their strength, it was difficult to threaten the other party. However, their mission at this time was not to defeat the other party, but to stall for time. Taking advantage of the moment when Lu Kuan was trapped by the demon energy, they pulled the distance between the 2 sides to 200 feet. The broadsword in Purple Tong's hand had disappeared, and was replaced by a long black whip. It seemed to be composed of some kind of bone nodules and exuded a charming aura. The demon energy in her body surged, and the long whip lashed forward, turning into a circle of black halos that covered the two-headed, four-armed monster that had just escaped. But the other party's four arms struggled outwards, and the halos broke apart inch by inch. Purple Tongue continued to support herself with her true essence, and even mobilized the little demon energy in her body. Her eyes flashed with shock. What kind of monster is this? His primordial spirit is even stronger than a demon emperor's. The will in the demon succubus whip has no effect on him. Hey, Bloodsob, what's in your hand? On the other side, Bloodsob had put away the short axe in his hand. A strange statue floated in front of him. It was about 3 feet tall and depicted a demon with 2 horns and extremely thick muscles. Giant Spirit Golem. After seeing this thing, Purple Tongue's expression relaxed a little. More demon energy in her body surged, trying to trap the other party. A purple-black lightning shot out from Bloodsob's hand, and a black ball of light flew out of his head, directly putting most of his primordial spirit into it. Then, under the fluctuation of the true demon will, the statue quickly expanded. In an instant, it became a 3 feet tall behemoth, like a product of some kind of strange metal mixed with flesh and blood. The air within a foot of its body surface was distorted. Its thick legs stepped on the void, and the horned demon statue rushed out. Its pair of millstone-like fists fiercely hit the two-headed, four-armed monster. The monster's 4 arms waved forward, and 4 small fists bombarded the giant fist. Boom! Countless gusts of wind visible to the naked eye shot out in all directions like blades. The demonic fog in the distance was sliced open, and the two-headed, four-armed monster's body trembled. It was actually pushed back more than 10 feet by the demonic statue's punch. Boom! The 2 demons didn't show the slightest joy and continued to cooperate. One controlled the golem, and the other cast a continuous stream of demon energy light whips, punching Lu Kuan again and again. At this time, the 2 demons finally felt the suffocating pressure around them ease a lot. Bloodsob looked at the statue with some heartache. This was the treasure he left for his son, Xueqing. Even he only had one. Every time he activated it, he had to find a demon emperor to replenish his demon energy. The price was great. Fortunately, this giant spirit golem didn't disappoint him. When this treasure was activated, its power was only a hair's breadth away from the power of a demon emperor. However, it contained many precious materials and was extremely heavy, weighing more than 100,000 pounds. In a head-on confrontation with a demon emperor, it had a slight advantage. However, it also had many shortcomings. There was no long-range power enchantment, only a foot of passive force field. It could barely borrow power from the void, but because it was too heavy, it was far from enough to change direction. Fortunately, we only need to resist for less than a quarter of an hour. Seeing the giant spirit golem hit Lu Kuan 4 times and push him back nearly 6 feet, the 2 demons suddenly felt a lot safer. At this time, Purple Tongue Demon King had already swallowed a pill to recover her demon energy. Only by fully injecting her demon energy could she barely restrain Lu Kuan. Just in case, while Bloodsob was controlling the golem, he had a mass of demon energy plasma in his body ready at any time. Boom! The giant spirit golem punched again, creating a circle of chi wave. However, the 2-headed, 4-armed monster wasn't sent flying. Instead, its 4 palms were raised in front of it, supporting the golem's huge fist. The air behind it was compressed into a twisted arc, squeezing back inch by inch. Awesome! Haha, I finally met something comparable to Lu's power. Unfortunately, it's still not enough. Accompanied by this excited roar, the 2-headed, 4-armed monster's body soared with rich chi and blood. Its 6-foot-tall body actually expanded inch by inch. 7 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet. The 4 palms that were originally holding the golem's huge fist became 3 palms, 2 palms. Under the dumbfounded gazes of Xueqi and Zitong, the monster's body expanded by 5 times at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into a height of 10 meters. Due to the existence of 4 arms, it looked even more burly and huge than the demon statue. With the growth of its physical body, its control of demon energy seemed to have risen to a level. When Purple Tong's demon whip halo approached its body, it shattered inch by inch and was shaken into pure demon energy, which poured into the black light film on the surface of the monster's skin. The 10-meter-tall monster waved its 4 arms, and the solid membrane of light on the surface of its skin quickly converged on its palms. Countless black palm shadows, carrying a terrifying vibrating force, blasted on the joints of the giant spirit golem's arms. Bloodsob immediately lost the perception of the golem's arms. He hurriedly controlled the golem's legs and opened his mouth at the same time, shooting the purple-black plasma that he had prepared in his body forward. But the 2-headed, 4-armed monster seemed to be prepared. It also opened its mouth and spat out a mass of purple-black liquid. It hit the purple-black plasma and made a sizzling sound. For a moment, the two were entangled in midair, and it seemed that no one could do anything to the other. Then the monster's 4 palms wrapped around the golem's legs. The surrounding air was distorted and made an overbearing explosion sound. The monster turned its waist, made a spiral in the void, and threw the golem's huge body fiercely at Bloodsob. Bloodsob's face changed. He dodged to the side while urging his spirit to control the giant spirit golem. But at this time, a powerful demonic yuan qi fluctuation came from not too far away. Within a radius of 400 feet, that terrifying suction force appeared once more. But this time it was different. Even the demonic yuan qi further away was strongly attracted and began to gather. Bloodsob felt this and couldn't help but look over. He saw that in the hands of the 3-meter-tall 2-headed, 4-armed monster, a black-gray broadsword had appeared out of nowhere. It was 10 feet long with a twisted silver liquid on it. The 2 black demon palms, like melting candles, directly merged with the handle of the broadsword. The 4 arms raised the broadsword high. The demon energy swept over and condensed at the tip of the broadsword, forming a terrifying broadsword light that was 40 feet long. It was densely covered with runes and surged with a frightening aura. At the same time, the suction force of the demon emperor level was rolling in a radius of 40 feet. Feeling this pressure, Bloodsob couldn't care less about controlling the golem. All the remaining demon energy surged, and he desperately retreated. On the other side, although Purple Tong Demon King was 300 feet away, except for the pressure and suction force, her control of the demon energy was suppressed. She couldn't borrow the rich demon energy outside. Relying on the rich demon energy in her body, she could barely stay in place. At this time, the 2-headed, 4-armed monster waved the huge broadsword light and fiercely slashed at Purple Tong Demon King. Along with the slashing action, the female Demon King felt the hard scales on the surface of her body begin to tremble. The demon energy outside of her body kept collapsing, and a powerful force firmly locked her. No! Feeling that she couldn't move her body, Purple Tong gritted her teeth, and the demon energy in her body surged together. A purple shield with barbs appeared in her hands, and she barely managed to gather it on top of her head. Then, her whole body was submerged in the thick broadsword light. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening boom, a shock wave rolled out in all directions, and the surrounding purplish-black fog became thinner and thinner due to the terrifying power of the shock wave. In the distance, the pseudo-god transformation realm cultivator looked at the scene in front of him in a daze. A huge broadsword mark was cut open on the ground. Just the width alone was dozens of feet, and the length was more than 1,000 feet. It was still constantly splitting into the distance. Purple Tong Demon King was lying on the ground. Her exquisite body was twitching unconsciously. The scales on the surface of her body were fragmented, revealing the indistinct light purple flesh behind. Even the bones behind her had many cracks. The dim shield had been thrown to the side. Chapter 1296. Amidst the demonic chi waves and booming sounds, Lu Kuan's huge body with 2 heads and 4 arms rapidly shrank as he fell. By the time he landed beside Purple Tong Demon King, he had already shrunk to his previous height of 6 feet. The 2 heads were expressionless, and the 4 limbs and arms danced as fast as lightning. Their palms were clenched into claws, and the tips of each finger flashed with conical black light spots. They impatiently grabbed the exquisite body lying on the ground. With a crisp kacha sound, a big hole was directly dug out from Purple Tong Demon King's flat lower abdomen. A purple-black nascent soul with its eyes closed and fainted was caught by the 4 palms. Then, a violent and invisible force squeezed inwards, and the nascent soul of the Demon King shattered, turning into balls of pure demon yuan qi energy that swept out in all directions. At this time, Lu Kuan's head opened its mouth and spat out a silver blood mist. The overflowing true demon will condense together and turned into a small silver ball that disappeared into its mouth. With a flash of light, the broken body on the ground, the dim shield, and the 2 storage bracelets disappeared. Lu Kuan's 2-headed and 4-armed body shot out in a direction. It turned out that Xueqi, the fake demon emperor, fled without looking back after feeling the terrible pressure of the black blade. Strange, this guy seems to be swaying left and right in the fog. Is he trying to stall for time? Lu Kuan felt the position of his blood and felt a little puzzled. He had lost his golden light divine eye, so he had no way to break this kind of illusion restriction. Even Hong Yuntian's stubborn divine sense was distorted by the illusion here. His blood had nothing to do with spiritual sense and was not disturbed by the fog, so he could go deep into the fog. Otherwise, he might not even be able to meet Wu Wenxuan's nascent soul. After flying for thousands of feet, Lu Kuan passed through another mirage illusion and came to the place where the blood was. Seeing the scene in front of him, he was stunned. A fist-sized black ball of light wrapped in a jade bottle was spinning in the illusion. The blood was inside the jade bottle. During the battle earlier, my vitality erupted a few times. I thought that the battle would be intense, but this guy didn't think of it. In the end, I was still discovered. This ball of light has the aura of the true demon will. It seems to be part of the Demon King's primordial spirit. At this moment, Hong Yuntian's voice came from within Lin Feng's body. Hearing this, Lu Kuan looked around and found that the gap in the illusion behind him had healed. His face changed. Not good, the demon race's goal is to open the spatial seal. This guy is trying to buy time. Hong Yuntian said, "If I were that devil, I wouldn't fight recklessly with us. I would think of a way to trap you with the help of this illusory formation. Then, I would kill those pseudo-divine transformation realm warriors who have exhausted their true vitality. Damn it, this is a plan to lure the tiger away from the mountain. We were tricked by this fake demon emperor. Those pseudo-divine transformation realm warriors can't die yet." Lu Kuan growled in frustration. He ignored the black ball of light in front of him and slammed into the illusion behind him. However, even if he retraced his steps, he wasn't confident that he could return to his original spot. On the other side, those pseudo-divine transformation realm warriors looked at the huge saber mark on the ground and then looked at the burly figure who had disappeared into the illusion of the mirage. They were dumbfounded. After a while, they woke up from their dream. Their expressions became complicated, especially those pseudo-divine transformation realm warriors who had besieged Lu Kuan. Their faces were pale and their eyes were filled with uneasiness. Gu Deming, on the other hand, looked at the others with a gloating expression. He seemed to be quite comfortable. Abbot Ji Yuan said excitedly, "I didn't expect Master Lu to have such a supernatural power. He is so powerful that he can crush the Demon King. In this case, we may have a chance to stop the demon race." Seeing that the others didn't respond, he was slightly stunned. Then, he reacted. He put his palms together and said, "If Master Lu really wanted to kill you, he could have appeared a little later. There was no need for him to come and save you in advance." He glanced at Fire Spirit Supremacy and said, "Pavilion Master Lu is obviously doing this for the sake of the human race. He's willing to let go of the past and work together to deal with the demon race. Do you still suspect that Pavilion Master Lu is a demon?" Even though Honorable Fiery Spirit had lived for more than 1,000 years, he still blushed under the questioning of this fat monk. He sighed and said, "It is my fault. Master Lu's anger will be borne by the 5 Spirits Temple." "Great Spirit Lord Buddha," Abbot Ji Yuan said, "if we can survive this crisis, I am willing to be the peacemaker and help you settle your grudges. However, for now you should quickly recover your true Yuan. Wait for Master Lu to come back and help him sense the seal of space." Old monk Ji Yuan. Mo Qing suddenly whispered, "Didn't Master Lu say that he couldn't see through the illusion restriction? Can he still come back?" Everyone couldn't help but look at each other. "Naturally, he can't come back." At this moment, along with a cold voice, a muscular black demon suddenly shot out from the fog not far away. He was holding a pair of black short axes with a thick black blade. He slashed at the fake soul formation stage cultivators. Everyone's expression changed. At this moment, their true yuan was depleted. They had just taken out supreme-grade spirit stones to recover. There was no way for them to defend. Fortunately, Abbot Ji Yuan reacted. The gold-rimmed kasaya on his body flew out and blocked in front of him. The sound of countless monks chanting could be heard. Under the suppression of the fake demon emperor, the surrounding demonic chi gathered towards the kasaya, forming a black 10,000-word mantra that was 10 feet long and wide. Although it was formed by demonic chi, it exuded a serene aura. Boom! The 2 demonic weapons struck this defense, causing a small portion of the black Buddhist mantra to collapse. The color of the golden kasaya underneath rapidly weakened, as if it had lost some sort of essence. Human Buddhist cultivator. Xueqi seemed to recognize this mantra symbol. He snorted and waved his arms. The shadows of the axes crossed and blasted out 4 rounds of attacks in a short time, shattering it into pieces. However, in this brief moment of delay, the 3-headed flood dragon also counterattacked. She hadn't used the 5 elements essence conversion secret technique before, so she still had some true essence left. The 5 daggers contained a yellow halo of light as they attacked the bloodsob from the side. However, the fake demon emperor was an existence comparable to the demon king. Even if he was beaten by Lu Kuan to the point that he couldn't fight back, he was still not someone a fake soul formation stage cultivator could deal with. His muscular body spun in the air. The 2 axes flashed with a purple-black light and flashed out several afterimages. The daggers were knocked away. But at this moment, Xueqi suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. In the fog 2,000 feet away, there was a vague muscular figure that was rushing here. Impossible, my avatar has sensed that he has been lured away. How can he come back so quickly? Has this guy been pretending? He can see through the fog of nightmare at all. While Xueqi was still in a daze, the 3-headed dragon's body had transformed into a red snake that was about 10 feet long. With a whoosh, it coiled around Xueqi's legs. "You're courting death." Xueqi was shocked and angry. He raised his short axe and chopped down. Clang, after all, this was the body of a demon king. Its defensive power was not bad at all. When his axe chopped down, it only cracked the red scales on the outside. "You demon bastard, cut me again if you have the ability. It's just a fire avatar. I can grow it in more than 1,000 years. It's worth it to exchange it for a fake demon emperor." Xueqi listened to this crazy voice and looked at Lu Kuan, who was more than 1,000 feet away. He couldn't help but panic. He used to be a late-stage demon king. Naturally, he could see the horror of Lu Kuan's previous attack. It was close to the peak of the early stage Demon King. With the strength of a fake Demon Emperor, he was not confident that he could withstand it. Under the crisis, he circulated the demon energy in his body and the remaining primordial spirit. A giant axe appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the red dragon under him. This attack was very powerful. Not only did it completely break the scales, but it even cut the bones inside. However, the axe was stuck inside, making the attack stop. At this moment, 5 small halos suddenly appeared in the bodies of the few pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators who had exhausted their vital essence. These small halos carried a special power of will. They turned into 5 ropes and directly tied Xueqi's body. Ji Yuan's grayish-white kasaya floated above the fake demon emperor. He kept chanting the words, "Great Spiritual King Buddha." He kept injecting his merciful will into it. The surrounding demonic aura slightly stagnated, as if it was blocked. Several pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators who had exhausted their vital essence and 2 demon kings were all excited when they saw Lu Kuan. They quickly grasped the opportunity and tied him in place. They were even a little proud. It should be known that the primordial spirit chains of several people combined could trap even Lu Kuan, let alone a fake demon emperor. "Do I have to use that move?" Xueqi struggled a few times and found that he couldn't break free in a short time. A trace of ruthlessness appeared in his eyes. The purple-black lightning between his muscles disappeared into his body. His strong muscles shriveled at a speed visible to the naked eye. A terrifying aura of destruction was emitted from his body. "Retreat and withdraw your divine power. This guy is going to self-destruct." Before the few pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators could feel proud, they heard this warning and quickly withdrew their divine power. Then, Lu Kuan's figure landed in front of them. They saw his 4 arms hugging the air. A distorted invisible force wrapped around Xueqi's body. Streams of demonic aura gathered and formed a strange ball made of 2 vortexes. Boom, a purple-black plasma suddenly exploded. However, under the pressure of this strange ball, the energy didn't overflow at all. Lu Kuan's face was serious. His limbs and arms trembled slightly. He kept drawing in demonic aura to replenish it. After a few breaths, these lights gradually dimmed. Xueqi's fake demon emperor body disappeared. Only some scales, broken bones, a dim demonic weapon, and 2 storage bracelets were left. Chapter 1297. Fortunately, I have something up my sleeve. Otherwise, my soul would have been destroyed. About 3,000 meters away from Lu Kuan in the purple-black fog, a small black light ball wrapped in a jade bottle trembled slightly. A weak soul energy gushed out from it. The light ball trembled and the jade bottle fell to the ground with a clatter. According to the words of those pseudo-god transformation realm warriors, that 2-headed, 4-armed monster is indeed a human. I think his name is Master Lu. Is he the leader of a sect? This guy's ability is probably even stronger than a real demon emperor. How did he cultivate? His body contains a stubborn will, but under the corrosion of the purple demon whip, he was not affected at all. Obviously, he has some special soul ability. A 2-headed, 4-armed body that is half human and half demon. Is this the result of a demon emperor's soul failing to possess a human's body? Xueqi thought for a long time and barely found a reason. He didn't think about whether this body was a result of some kind of cultivation method. In his mind, the demon race and some other races in the spiritual realm relied on their racial talent to communicate with a trace of the origin energy of heaven and earth. That was how they could refine their bodies. The human race didn't have the talent to connect with the origin energy of heaven and earth. The human race in the spiritual realm could barely borrow the origin energy of heaven and earth by imitating the cultivation methods of other races. According to what he heard from the demon emperor, The human race, with their inferior racial talent, could only cultivate to the demon emperor level at most. They couldn't produce any demon emperors. They could only become food for other races. What a waste of effort! A perfect body for a pseudo-god demon emperor is gone just like that. Xueqi felt his heart ache. This was equivalent to wasting hundreds of years of his time. His demon soul didn't have a high affinity with the origin energy of heaven and earth. It was impossible for him to break through to the demon emperor level. Only by cultivating the path of a demon emperor that focused on the body could he have a chance to progress further. Among his children, only Xueqing's body and soul were the most suitable. Just as the light ball of his soul was floating, a powerful spatial fluctuation suddenly came from the depths of the purple-black fog. The ground shook. Xueqi's soul was shaken. It hasn't even been 15 minutes. Heifeng is pretty quick. Once the spatial seal is broken, my soul will at least be able to return to the saint's world and merge with my body. I'll barely be able to maintain my cultivation as a demon king. But then, Xueqi found that the surrounding nightmare fog had trapped him. Without the scale blessed by Lord Demon Venerable, with the current strength of his primordial spirit, he couldn't see through the illusion. Bloodsob anxiously dispelled the illusion. When the demon race army arrived, he had to warn his fellow clansmen to be careful of that two-headed, four-armed monster. If this monster could see through the nightmare fog and was in the dark, then the new members of the same race would be in trouble. On the other side of the demonic fog, Lu Kuan collected the fragments of the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivator's body, as well as all sorts of other things. At this moment, Hong Yuntian's head on his shoulder opened its mouth and sucked back a ball of purplish-black liquid with a longing expression. This blob of liquid was a small part of the essence of blood and mana in his body. In the previous battle, Hong Yuntian found that the essence of blood and mana and the purplish-black energy of the pseudo-demon emperor could actually devour each other. The two energies had a special connection, but their attributes repelled each other. Originally, he thought that the two would annihilate each other, but he didn't expect that after the life force in his body was added with the essence of blood and mana, it directly suppressed the purplish-black lightning energy and completely devoured it. Although the essence of blood and mana was greatly consumed in the process of devouring, after absorbing it, the essence of his body had improved a lot, which made Hong Yuntian very surprised. Later, when the pseudo-demon emperor spat out a ball of purplish-black plasma, he didn't hesitate to block it with his essence of blood and mana. Then, Hong Yuntian and Lu Kuan cooperated to activate the Snow Soul Devil Saber together, ignoring the essence of blood and mana for a while. As a result, when they got lost in the demonic fog, Hong Yuntian remembered that the essence of blood and mana was on the battlefield. Under the induction of his bloodline, he rushed back in time. In the past, Yuan School only had a complete corpse of a pseudo-demon emperor because this guy could self-destruct. If we could get a fresh and complete body, I'm afraid we would be able to understand the mystery of the purplish-black lightning energy. Hong Yuntian's head on Lu Kuan's shoulder suddenly spoke, his tone full of regret. Seeing such a strange scene, the surrounding pseudo-demon emperors all looked over in horror. This head could actually speak? Lu Kuan lightly coughed, pointed at the head with his hands and said, I forgot to introduce him to you. This is Hong Yuntian, the only remaining disciple of Yuan School's body refining branch. He is now the great elder of the body refining pavilion. Abbot Ji Yuan has already met him. Ji Yuan suppressed the surprise in his heart, put his palms together and said, just now, this old monk felt that he was a little familiar. So it's Taoist Hong. Greetings, Taoist Hong. Greetings, Taoist Hong. When the other pseudo-god transformation realm cultivators heard this, they understood that Lu Kuan's form should be a kind of incredible combination. Moreover, when they heard that Hong Yuntian was related to the ancient Yuan school, many doubts in their hearts were solved. Hong Yuntian snorted coldly, and his demonic arms were behind his back, as if he disdained to greet these people. Seeing this, Lu Kuan put down his hands awkwardly. But at this moment the ground under everyone suddenly shook, and a powerful spatial fluctuation came from the depths of the fog. Lu Kuan suddenly said with a dignified expression, "You guys, quickly sense the location of the spatial seal. If we are late, we will have to face at least 8 demon kings." In this fog, Lu is not confident that he can fight. Needless to say, the others very skillfully divided into 2 teams, about 300 feet apart, and kept counting. The spatial fluctuation is extremely clear. The direction of the ground shaking can also be included in the calculation. "Master Lu, follow us." These people exchanged the results of the calculation while flying inside. Lu Kuan's 2-headed and 4-armed body followed behind, but he came to the side of the 3-headed dragon that was almost broken in 2. "Send all the frenzy in your primordial spirit to me." One of his palms slightly enlarged, and he grabbed the red dragon's neck. The 3-headed dragon was suddenly caught. Hearing this, it was a little confused. Lu Kuan coldly snorted and said, "Send the berserk intent into this arm of mine. If you do as I say, I will not pursue the matter from before. Otherwise, I will go find your main body and cut off the other 2 heads." Hearing this, the 3-headed flood dragon immediately thought of the terrifying 400-foot-long saber light from before. It felt a chill on its neck, and it quickly revealed a fawning expression. It swung its dragon tail, and the berserk will flowed into Lu Kuan's palm. "Swan and I, you do the same. Send me the frenzy, and Lu will let bygones be bygones." Swan and I Dragon King very obediently flew to Lu Kuan's side, the golden soft whip wrapped around its other hand, and the frenzy was continuously sent over. Outside Lu Kuan's 2 arms, clouds of silver blood gradually gushed out, forming a layer of bone-like armor on the surface of his skin. All the frenzy was guided by his blood. This layer of armor was a brand new remarkable ability of the late bone transformation realm. It could transfer blood to the outside of the body to form a layer of powerful armor that did not affect the flexibility of the muscles. Although the strength was not as strong as the bones that contained silver dragon meteorite iron, it was equivalent to a mature defensive magic weapon. As long as there was enough blood, this layer of bone armor could be continuously replenished. Previously, when his physical body took the blow of the fake demon emperor, he relied on this layer of bone armor and did not lose much blood. If he used his muscles to resist, he would have consumed more blood. It could be said that after a body cultivator entered the late bone transformation realm, their defensive power would be greatly strengthened. According to Lu Kuan's calculation, even with the blood concentration of an ordinary body cultivator, at this realm, they would be able to take several Yuan Qi materialization attacks. As for the 2 heads and 6 arms at this time, it was an extension of the blood congealing remarkable ability. Previously, when the 2 of them combined their remarkable ability, the biggest flaw was that the source power of the 2 bodies cancelled each other out. Lu Kuan's 4-foot force field at that time, under the neutralization of Hong Yuntian's 3-foot force field, was only 1 foot, and the Yuan absorption ability was greatly reduced. The reason why the 2 cancelled each other out was that the former's source power field came from the bones, while the latter came from the Qi blood magic power itself. The Qi blood magic power wrapped around Lu Kuan's bones and clashed with the source power radiating from the bones in the middle. But if the Qi blood magic power adhered to the arm bones condensed from blood, there would be no problem. On one hand, it was because Lu Kuan's source power field did not radiate from the blood. On the other hand, Hong Yuntian's Qi blood magic power could barely half-merge with Lu Kuan's blood. Only with a physical body attached to the Qi blood magic power could its true power be exerted. And through the transfer of blood, Lu Kuan's integrated physical strength could be transferred over. On this pair of demon arms, Lu Kuan's 5-foot source power field at the late bone transformation realm merged with Hong Yuntian's 3-foot force field. The range of the force field increased to 8 feet, and the range of the void power also increased from 300 feet to 400 feet, greatly increasing the control of Yuan Qi. However, it was not so easy to control this pair of demon arms. Because the two of them had lost the dark spirit crystal, if their divine sense merged, their control of the Uni-Yuan force would be unstable. So Lu Kuan focused on controlling his own body and handed over the control of the demon arms to Hong Yuntian. Although his physical body and divine sense cultivation were not high, by relying on the power of will, he could control the power of the Uni-Yuan force if he controlled a pair of arms alone. And controlling the arms required the help of the nervous system. So Lu Kuan split half of the spine from the thoracic vertebrae and let Hong Yuntian's spinal nerves enter. As for the second head, it did not exist when this ability was first conceived. But when they experimented with the restrictions outside the ancient battlefield, they found that after the fusion, a spinal nerve ball that controlled the demon arms would protrude from the back of the head. At first glance, it looked like a flaw. Lu Kuan simply used a little more blood to condense Hong Yuntian's head. This way, not only would there be no flaws in the appearance, but it could also be used to intimidate the enemy with this strange form. Master Lu, we're almost there. The few pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators were sweating. Looking at the white light behind the purplish-black fog, they were relieved. This time, with the addition of the ground shaking, the calculation was much faster. They did not enter immediately. Instead, they turned to look at Lu Kuan and could not help but be shocked. The two demon kings had already left Lu Kuan's body. On the surface of the two human arms, a layer of pale yellow bone armor formed. The strange thing was that the arms were still moving. One of the right arms, which was wrapped in the armor of frenzy, used the shoulder joint as a fulcrum and moved to the left shoulder. The other demon arm, which was filled with the will of the true demon, moved to the right shoulder. This two-headed, four-armed ferocious body quickly changed into a new appearance. On the left was a pair of human arms, which were filled with the aura of frenzy. On the other side was a pair of demon arms, which were filled with a violent will. The skin on his chest swelled again. It was as if there were two lumps that were drilling into the left and right arms respectively. Two special auras were emitted from the lumps, as if they were resonating with the wills on the four arms. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian's eyes flashed with excitement. The strength of this two-headed, four-armed ability was not to increase the control of vital qi. It was to fuse the Snow Soul twin sabers. Chapter 1298. The Black Wind Demon King floated in the air. He looked down, his eyes filled with excitement. The silver misty valley was very different from before. In the thin mist, a small black hole appeared. It seemed to be emitting an endless suction force, sucking in the surrounding silver light. As the mist decreased, the spatial fluctuations became more and more intense. The deep black hole was still expanding. It grew from 7 to 8 feet to several feet. Suddenly, two balls of purplish-black energy appeared. They instantly twisted into two palms that were several feet in size. They pressed on the two sides of the black hole. The palms seemed to contain the power to hold up the heavens. They pushed out along the two sides of the black hole. Boom! The entire world trembled. The small mountains around the valley began to crack and collapse. Rocks rolled down. For a moment the earth shook. The purplish-black palms wanted to continue moving. However, they seemed to have encountered some kind of obstruction. They twisted and disappeared. But just now they had expanded the spatial crack to nearly 1,000 feet. The silver valley that existed before had completely turned into a spatial crack that was 1,000 feet in diameter. Immediately after, in this pitch-black hole, faint blue balls of light appeared one after another. There were as many as 8 of them. The first 6 were very small, and one could vaguely see a tall figure inside. The 7th ball was 10 times bigger. There were 10 figures inside. As for the 8th ball, it was 300 feet in diameter. There were countless demon faces inside. 6 people. This should be fine. Including the 3 here, there are 9 Demon King experts. Even if that unknown enemy is comparable to a demon emperor, he will still die. Black Wind looked at the blue balls of light. They would come out in about 10 breaths. He relaxed completely. After completing the mission this time, not to mention the reward from Lord Demon Lord, just the 100-fold time difference in this world will allow us to save a lot of time on cultivation. You should know that the lifespan of us living beings in the outside world is still 100-fold shorter here. For a race, the value of such a unique realm is probably no less than the legendary. You guys are still alive? Right at this moment, the Black Wind Demon King suddenly turned his head and looked forward. 7 pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators flew out of the demonic fog one after another. They were strangely divided into 2 groups and even flew to the sides, leaving the middle space open as if they were welcoming something. What are these fellows trying to do? Did they run out of Jinqi and come here to die? Just as this thought flashed through his mind, he suddenly saw a huge foot appear in the middle of the empty space. This foot was at least 4 or 5 feet tall, and the ground shook. Along with the giant foot, a 90 zhang tall figure walked out, surrounded by wisps of mist. What kind of monster is this? The Black Wind Demon King stared at the scene before him with his mouth agape. This monster had a pair of legs that were like pillars that supported the heavens. Its legs and body were covered in a layer of black light, and some kind of mysterious runes were twisted on it. On both sides of its body, there were 4 similarly huge and terrifying arms. The pair of arms on the left was covered with a layer of yellow bone armor, which was surging with crazy thoughts. The 2 arms on the other side were covered with a layer of thick purple-black scales. If Haifeng was not wrong, it contained the true demon intent of the demon race. However, the mountain-like shoulder was empty, and there was no head. As soon as this 4-armed, 2-legged headless monster appeared, the spiritual yuan in the area became violent and crazily gathered toward this monster, forming a violent white hurricane. The purple-black demonic mist behind the monster kept rolling, turning into a black funnel cloud, and rich demonic yuan was injected into its body. While the Black Wind Demon King was still in shock, he felt a heavy spiritual yuan pressure on his body. His body flew uncontrollably in the direction of the monster along with the spiritual yuan of heaven and earth. Not good. Haifeng's face changed drastically. He had gone through a great battle, and he had also used up his vitality to activate Lord Demon Lord's treasure to break the seal. The demonic yuan in his body was already insufficient, and he could only rely on his primordial spirit to stabilize his body. At the same time, he used his physical strength of 1,000,000 pounds to step on the void and desperately retreat. This ability to draw vitality is too terrifying. I'm afraid it's close to the peak of the middle stage of Demon Lord. Haifeng tried his best to retreat, but under this suffocating spiritual yuan pressure, his speed was extremely slow. At this time, the monster stretched out its 4 arms, and tiny blades suddenly gushed out from its 4 palms. They fused with each other and condensed into 2 small knives that were the size of the monster's fingers. Then, under the injection of a silver energy, the pair of small knives crazily swelled, directly turning into a pair of giant knives that were 10 meters long, black and white respectively. The surrounding demonic spiritual yuan followed the monster's body and constantly gathered on the 2 knives. The true demonic will and frenzied will were also injected into the 2 knives along with the 2 types of yuan qi. With the infusion of yuan qi, the monster's 4 incomparably huge palms suddenly fused together at the wrists. The nearby air became distorted, as if it was blurred. The black demonic yuan qi and the white spiritual yuan qi directly formed 2 funnel whirlwinds with the fused palms as the center. Due to the repulsion of energy, they were extremely unstable. The black and white halos inside flashed, as if they would explode at any time. Buzz, a strange trembling sound was heard, and a dazzling golden light suddenly appeared in the four fused palms. As soon as it appeared, the two black and white yuan qi whirlwinds that were squeezing each other suddenly had a place to vent. They rapidly converged towards the golden light, and the original black and white knives fused together foot by foot. In 1 or 2 breaths, they formed a huge golden knife that was 10 meters long. At the same time, an incomparably crazy and ferocious intent spread out. When the Black Wind Demon King, who was slowly retreating, was affected by this intent, the yuan spirit in his body trembled, as if it had encountered a great suppression. What kind of intent is this? It can actually suppress the sacred will. Haifeng's eyes were filled with disbelief. His body that was originally retreating, after losing the support of his yuan spirit, actually began to fly towards the monster bit by bit. As for the headless monster with 4 arms and 2 legs, it seemed to not care about the Black Wind Demon King at all. Instead, it raised its 4 arms and raised the huge golden knife high up. At this time, in addition to the absorption of yuan qi, there was also an invisible pressure around it. The black and white yuan qi whirlwinds in the sky poured into the huge golden knife at an even faster speed, extending in front of it, forming a solid knife light that shone with a pale golden light. 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. This dazzling golden knife light extended for a full 40 meters. At this time, Haifeng stimulated all the demonic energy in his body, barely stabilizing his body. He stood above the spatial rift and stared blankly at the runic lines on the golden knife light above his head. It was like a human figure with both hands raised to the sky, and it was somewhat similar to the headless monster with 4 arms and 2 legs. For some reason, he felt a pressure that seemed to split the world apart rush towards him. At the moment when the 40-meter-long golden knife was formed, the monster's body slightly bent, and its pillar-like legs fiercely stomped on the ground. As the ground cracked, its huge body shot towards the spatial rift. He raised the dazzling knife light that seemed to cover the sky, aimed at a spot in the middle of the spatial rift, and slashed down fiercely. As the knife fell, ripples appeared in the space where it passed. There were even faint blue spots of light that surrounded the golden knife light like stars surrounding the moon. Boom! This golden knife light, with a crazy and ferocious will, seemed to split the world apart as it fiercely slashed into the spatial rift that was 1,000 meters in diameter. The Black Wind Demon King brushed against the edge of the golden knife light, and his body completely collapsed. He was wrapped by the dazzling knife light and disappeared into the pitch-black hole together. In the spatial rift, a few faint blue light balls near the knife light directly shattered, revealing the shocked faces of the demons inside. Then, these people were drowned in the pitch-black hole. Who is it? How dare you ruin my plan? Accompanied by this angry roar, a ball of purplish-black lightning suddenly appeared in the depths of the pitch-black hole. It turned into a palm that was several meters in size and firmly blocked the golden knife light. Then, it suddenly squeezed. The 40-meter-long dazzling knife light broke inch by inch and disappeared into the pitch-black hole. The purplish-black palm then wrapped the remaining faint blue light balls and withdrew into the depths of the spatial rift. Just as all this was done, a dense faint blue spiritual light suddenly appeared in the 100-meter-wide black hole. It was like a hurricane that blew out from inside. Accompanied by an extremely dense spatial power, with the spatial rift as the center, it swept out in all directions. The 5 monsters that were originally 90-meter tall quickly shrank at this time. At the same time, they retreated, but they were still hit by the faint blue storm and were blasted into the purplish-black fog. Chapter 1299. In the purplish-black fog, 2 men were sitting on the ground in a sorry state. Hong Yuntian had returned to his human form. He was wearing a black suit and his face was slightly pale. He seemed to have exhausted a lot of his energy. Lu Kuan also had the same expression. His eyes were bloodshot. This move is too terrifying. In order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, I also used the Transcendence World when I fused with the Snow Soul Saber. After that move, more than half of my blood essence was consumed, Lu Kuan said weakly. Hong Yuntian stood up slowly and sighed. It's not just our blood essence. The frenzied intent of the two demon kings, the true demon intent on them, and the will of the demon king you killed have all been exhausted. When the golden saber light fell, it even tore open a trace of space. It's close to the limit of the realm. I'm afraid it has the power of the peak of the mid-divine transformation realm. Lu Kuan didn't look proud. Instead, he said with a serious expression, the demonic hand in the space crack should be a body integration realm expert of the demon race. It crushed our strongest attack across the realm like crushing an ant. Hong Yuntian said slowly, a body integration realm expert is the top cultivator in the upper realm. It doesn't take much effort to kill a void refinement realm expert. However, with the suppression of the realm power, that guy can't come over. He didn't seem to care about the demonic hand and didn't continue the topic. The power of the frenzied demon intent fused with the Snow Soul Saber is similar to what we predicted. However, I find it strange that the spatial storm just now didn't hurt your body? You didn't even use the blood bone armor. As Hong Yuntian spoke, he looked at Lu Kuan's unharmed body with a puzzled expression. Lu Kuan recalled the scene of the blue storm and was stunned for a moment. After the spatial storm came into contact with the origin energy field on the surface of my body, it seemed to become distorted and directly slashed past my body. We were blown so far away because of the impact of the spatial storm. Hearing this, Hong Yuntian's eyes flashed with surprise. At such a close distance, even an early divine transformation realm expert would be injured if they didn't have a special treasure with them. Only a mid-divine transformation realm expert can withstand such an attack. Such an attack was actually slashed by your origin energy field. He muttered, the power of distorting space? The origin energy field of the body is really magical. Space distortion. When Lu Kuan heard this, his expression became strange. He suddenly remembered a common knowledge from Earth. The essence of gravity was the distortion of spacetime. His physical body's origin energy could distort space. What did this have to do with gravity? Furthermore, he also remembered that the ability to distort space seemed to be related to the mass of an object. However, the weight of his current body could no longer be measured. If he placed a scale under his feet, Lu Kuan only needed to adjust the direction of his origin energy field to control his weight between 0 and 2 million kilograms. Back when he had just comprehended his physical body's origin energy, he had wondered if the origin energy field was related to some sort of gravitational field. However, Lu Kuan was a sports enthusiast and was an expert in human anatomy. How could he have any profound knowledge of physics? He shook his head and threw these troublesome questions to the back of his mind. Then, he slowly stood up. Interesting. At this moment, Hong Yuntian suddenly revealed a strange expression. A milky white jade pendant appeared in his hand, and he threw it at a large rock behind him. A ray of white light gushed out of the jade pendant and swept into the rock. Then, a fist-sized green ball of light was extracted, exuding a wave of divine soul fluctuations. This divine soul seemed to have fallen into a coma and was directly swept into the jade pendant. There's actually a demon king's soul. The first demon king's divine soul and nascent soul were crushed by you, and the second one was swept into the space crack. Could this be that fake demon emperor's? That guy separated a part of his primordial spirit to lead us away. Did he use his physical body to self-destruct to cover it up, but in fact, his divine soul was transferred over? Hong Yuntian's divine sense scanned the surroundings. He touched his chin and said, the primordial spirit collapsed, leaving only the soul barely surviving. It seems that it was on the way to find the spatial seal when it was hit head-on by the eruption of a spatial storm. Lu Kuan took the jade pendant from Hong Yuntian's hand and said with joy, "It just so happens that we can interrogate the fake demon emperor about that special energy. When it comes to the secrets of the demon race, it's impossible for them to speak." Lu Kuan didn't care, "It's fine. If we can't refine it into pills, the blood refining sect has the method to refine the demon soul pill." Putting the jade pendant into his rib space, he looked at the thin white fog in front of him and said, "Let's go and see how the spatial seal is doing." Hong Yuntian didn't care about this demon soul. To the body refining pavilion, a fake demon emperor's body was much more valuable than a divine soul. A fresh corpse could be used to study the purplish-black lightning energy. Moreover, it could be refined into a demon zombie and be used by disciples who failed to break through to the bone transformation stage to cultivate the demon zombie body refining art. With the body of a fake demon emperor, after breaking through to the demon transformation stage, it should have the same supernatural powers as Hong Yuntian. The two of them took a few dozen steps forward and left the thin fog. What entered their eyes was a vast and empty area. It was thousands of feet in radius, and there was a 1,000-feet wide hole in the middle of this area. It was emitting a faint blue starlight. Hong Yuntian glanced at the fog behind him and sighed. The formation that the devil race used from afar is really terrifying. Such a terrifying spatial storm, which can at least engulf an area of several dozen miles, was actually suppressed to within 1,000 feet by this fog. Master Lu. Fellow Taoist Hong. At this time, several figures flew over from the edge of the fog. They were the fake divine transformation realm cultivators. Their eyes still had lingering fear, and they looked at the two with deep awe. If it weren't for Lu Kuan reminding them to stay away from the edge of the fog and spiritual energy, they would have been swept up in that world-destroying saber light just like the Demon King. Seeing these people, Lu Kuan said lightly, "Let's go and check the situation of the space seal." These fake divine transformation realm cultivators nodded. They came back one step earlier than Lu Kuan, but whether it was the golden saber light or the purple-black demonic hand, they were too terrifying. For a moment, they didn't dare to go over and check. While they were flying, Mo Qing of the Blue Cloud sect couldn't help but ask, "Master Lu, have you broken through to the real divine transformation realm?" Hearing those words, everyone turned to look at Zhang Xian. Lu Kuan shook his head and said, "Didn't Lu say before that I am now in the body-refining pseudo-divine transformation realm? Although I almost broke through to the real divine transformation realm not long ago, I found that the timing was not right, so I suppressed it." Pseudo-divine transformation realm? Body-refining pseudo-divine transformation realm. The surrounding people were all stunned. They were even a little confused. He killed the Demon King and forced the fake Demon Emperor to self-destruct. With such strength, he was only in the pseudo-divine transformation realm. Then what were they? And he said that the timing was not right, so he suppressed the breakthrough. When they were breaking through, they were all trembling with fear, afraid that they would fail. Lu Kuan actually gave up on the breakthrough. They even felt that Lu Kuan was deliberately saying this to provoke them, Lu Kuan explained, which was rare. Lu's talent is special. In the same realm, his combat power is 1 or 2 small realms higher than the normal disciples of the body-refining pavilion. 1 or 2 small realms. The fake divine transformation realm cultivators' mouths twitched. When he was in the nascent soul realm, the 6 of them together couldn't do anything to him. How was this crossing a small realm? It was almost crossing a big realm in silence. Everyone came near the dark blue space black hole and felt the majestic power of space. Only Hong Yuntian's divine sense rushed out without hesitation. They found that Hong Yuntian's divine sense, which had obviously just entered the late nascent soul realm, had comprehended the power of will. Even Abbot Ji Yuan's Buddhist heart was a little lost, and he kept chanting. Lu Kuan was fine, but this body-refining pavilion's great elder was also a monster. After a while, Hong Yuntian withdrew his divine sense. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Our attack accurately hit the node. Although it was still a little short of the limit of the interface, it succeeded in detonating the space storm. It should be able to stop the demon clan for 80 to 100 years. That terrifying golden saber light didn't destroy this spatial crack." The surrounding people were puzzled. Hong Yuntian looked at these fake divine transformation realm cultivators with contempt. "What do you know? Our combined attack just now seemed powerful, but it was nothing in the ancient times. At that time, there were at least 5 people in the Yuan sect who could perform this kind of magical power. The great war of the demon clan in the ancient times gathered the power of the entire world of immortal cultivators. Together with the powerful formation from the upper world, the small continent on the other side of the land of extreme north was turned into a chaotic space turbulence. That was how the war ended. Earlier on, the Nether Insect clan invaded. In order to destroy the space passage, the powerful Overseas Individual Cultivators Alliance and the Sea Clan attacked together and blasted a large group of islands into the huge whirlpool today. If the Yuan sect hadn't left a backup plan for the space seal here, that blade wouldn't have been able to achieve this effect. The fake divine transformation realm cultivators listened and looked at each other. Although they had some information about the Great War of the Demon Clan, they didn't know the details. However, Master Lu said that the Great Elder of the Body Refining Pavilion was the successor of the Yuan sect, so they believed him a little. Great Spiritual Lord Buddha, this means that the Demon Clan will surge out again in 100 years. Moreover, without the space seal, we will probably have to face the Demon Clan's army. Abbot Ji Yuan said worriedly. In 100 years at most, the world of immortal cultivators will face the second great war of the Demon Clan? Hearing this, the other fake divine transformation realm cultivators all showed fear. Lu Kuan snorted and said, "What are you afraid of?" After the Yuan sect ascended, the power of the world changed. Cultivators above the middle stage of demon generals can't enter. Plus, the power of space obstructs, so the number of people who can be teleported is limited. At most, 10 demon kings can be teleported. We can guard the entrance of the Guiyuan River and trap the demon clan in the broken country to kill them. The demon pill, demon infant, demon soul, and demon body are all good things. Only early-stage demon generals. Is that true? At most, 10 demon kings. Hong Yuntian said lightly. The Great Elder of the Yuan sect is a powerful cultivator of the void refinement realm from the upper world. This is the message he left me. In this case, the demon clan has nothing to fear. Lu Kuan looked around at the surprised and doubtful people around him, especially when he looked at fire spirit supremacy. An invisible pressure suddenly spread out. The 2 fake divine transformation realm cultivators of the 5 Spirits Temple and Mo Qing of the Blue Cloud sect immediately felt that their bodies were tightly bound. They couldn't even communicate with the Qi of heaven and earth outside. Lu Kuan said coldly, "The debt of the 2 demon kings is written off with Lu. What about the 3 of you?" Chapter 1300. Hearing Lu Kuan's words, Venerable Iciness and Mo Qing's faces turned pale. Cold sweat even appeared on their foreheads. Venerable Fiery Spirit was still calm. He sighed and said, "If Master Lu has any requests, the 5 Spirits Pavilion will definitely fulfill them. What about you, Taoist Mo?" "So will the Blue Cloud sect," Mo Qing hurriedly said. Lu Kuan's expression relaxed a lot. He said slowly, "Don't worry. Lu won't bully others. I only have 4 requests. First, I'll have to trouble you to organize a fighting alliance for the immortal realm. But this alliance must be led by the Body Refining Pavilion and listen to Lu's command." Hearing this, they agreed without hesitation. In the immortal realm, the strong were respected. The only soul formation cultivators who hadn't appeared here yet were the two old monsters from the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud. Their strength was comparable to Emoching's. It could be said that Master Lu's divine power was the best in the immortal realm. If the body refining pavilion was the leader, no one would dare to have any objections. Seeing that they had no objection, Lu Kuan raised a second finger and said, "Take all the demon corpses that your sect has accumulated over the years, whether it is the demon king, demon general, or demon soldier, give them all to the body refining pavilion. Don't tell me you don't have any. The primordial battlefield opens once every 500 years. After more than 70,000 years, there must be a lot of demon corpses accumulated." Venerable Fiery Spirit was stunned. Of course, it's no problem to give them to Master Lu. But most of the demon corpses have been taken away by the demon sect. Although we have some, there aren't many. Emoching said, "We don't need the demon corpses for cultivation. Master Lu can take them. But these corpses have rotted into bones. No matter what the demon corpses are, we want them." Seeing that the two of them agreed, Lu Kuan looked at Gu Deming and Ji Yuan and said, "As for the Supreme Profundity sect and the Buddhist sect's demonic corpses, I will arrange for the Southwest Chamber of Commerce to come and purchase them." Okay. Master Lu can send people over. Compared to the others, the two of them looked much more relaxed and agreed. As for Honorable Fiery Spirit and the other two, their expressions did not relax. Instead, they became even more solemn. The first two requests were very simple. With Lu Kuan's power alone, they would not reject him. In other words, the following requests would be even more demanding. Then, Lu Kuan said regretfully, "By the way, when I was in the purple-black fog, I saw fellow Taoist Wu's nascent soul being swallowed by the fake demon emperor. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to save her." "Fellow Taoist Wu is dead?" That fake devil emperor left midway. As expected, he went after fellow Taoist Wu. Wu Wenshuan. Wu. It. Wu Wenshuan. And Wu. It. Lu Kuan didn't care about their weird expressions. He sighed. "From the fake devil emperor, I know that many elders of the prime devil sect have died in his hands. Adding on the death of fellow Taoist Wu, the prime devil sect will be besieged by other devil sects like the Saint Devil sect 100 years ago. Instead of letting the immortal cultivators fight among themselves, why don't you all announce to the public that the body refining pavilion will take over the prime devil sect's territory in the ancient spirit state? This way, there won't be any trouble in the Great Zhou immortal world." The soul formation cultivators of the Great Zhou dynasty were stunned. Lu Kuan meant that he wanted the body-tempering pavilion to be part of the Great Zhou dynasty. Was the realm of cultivation in the southwest not enough, and he wanted to take over the Great Zhou dynasty's territory? Lu Kuan looked at the blue space crack and continued. "The Prime Devil sect is on the east bank of the Guiyuan River. It's close to the entrance of the Broken Country. If we want to put the battlefield in the Broken Country, the entrance to the Guiyuan River is the most important. We can't lose it." He glanced at them and said, "Lu won't be at ease with immortal cultivators like you guarding it. Amitabha Great Spiritual Lord Buddha, Pavilion Master Lu is righteous and benevolent. If the demon race invades, the entrance of the Guiyuan River will be the most dangerous area. The Buddhist sect will definitely support Pavilion Master Lu." Abbot Ji Yuan didn't have any other thoughts. He couldn't wait for Lu Kuan to come and guard it. With such a powerful cultivator, the devil race wouldn't be able to break out of the Broken Country. Supremacy Fire Spirit said helplessly, "Although we have the excuse of fighting against the devil race, even if we show up, the Great Zhou immortal cultivators will still have complaints. After all, the big sects have been passed down since ancient times. For tens of thousands of years, there haven't been any external forces." Lu Kuan interrupted, If anyone has any complaints, tell them to come and find Lu. I have no problem with that. Mo Qing's Blue Cloud sect was located on the west bank of the Guiyuan River. It was also close to the entrance of the Broken Country. If a war broke out, they would be the first to bear the brunt. With the body refining pavilion by their side and Master Lu personally overseeing it, the Blue Cloud sect's safety would naturally increase. The Supreme Profound sect will also help Master Lu. Gu Deming was happy to see this. With the body refining pavilion holding them back, the Blue Cloud sect and the Five Spirits Temple wouldn't take advantage of the Great Zhou sect's weakened strength to seize their resources. Although the two from the Five Spirits Temple had some misgivings, they were more powerful now. Moreover, Pavilion Master Lu's statement of fighting against the Devil Clan was just like how they had framed him for being possessed by the Devil Clan and wanted to attack the body refining pavilion. They were using the righteousness of the human clan. Supremacy Fire Spirit said dejectedly, "Since it's like this, the Five Spirits Temple has no objections. We will do our best to cooperate with Master Lu and restrain the Great Zhou sect." What is Master Lu's fourth request? Lu Kuan revealed a satisfied expression. He put away the origin energy field and smiled slightly. The last one is very simple. Lu will cultivate a secret technique in your origin energy field. When the time comes, there might be some fluctuations in the origin energy. Just don't make a fuss about it. That's simple. Master Lu just needs to let us know. Supremacy Fire Spirit and the other two looked at each other with strange expressions. They didn't expect the last request to be the simplest. Presumably, because Lu Kuan was guarding the entrance of the Broken Nation, their territory was closer to the ancient spirit state. They didn't need to return to the southwest cultivation world. After all, the body refining technique could activate the demonic spirit origin energy at the same time. Cultivation definitely had something to do with these two types of energy. Seeing that these people had agreed, Lu Kuan took out the Sunstone of the Mountain of Vows. The others didn't hesitate and completed the contract. The two Fiend Kings watched silently from the side without saying anything. They had used up almost all of their berserk intent on this trip. They would probably need to cultivate in seclusion for a while to recover. As for the three-headed dragon's clone, it was severely injured. It would take at least 100 years for it to return to its peak. Let's go. Lu left a mark outside. We should be able to get out quickly. Master Lu, please wait for a moment. Before everyone left, Ji Yuan suddenly flew to a collapsed rock and rummaged around. She took out some broken demonic corpses and a few storage bracelets. The fat monk handed the corpses to Lu Kuan and checked the storage bracelets in front of everyone. In the end, he only found some demonic race materials and demonic treasures. There wasn't even a demonic artifact. He wasn't surprised. The demonic race was like this in the past. Then, everyone held the supreme-grade spirit stones and followed Lu Kuan into the fog. Outside the primordial battlefield, many nascent soul realm cultivators gathered on a mountain rock in the Ring of Desolation. They looked ahead anxiously. The white fog restriction that surrounded the primordial battlefield had changed greatly. It was full of dense demonic spots, which were intertwined with the white fog. It was grayish-white, and there was a strong restriction fluctuation inside. That strange fog has spread all the way to this layer of ancient restriction. What is happening in the depths of the battlefield? Is there a problem with the space seal? It shouldn't be. There are so many soul formation realm cultivators here. That's not necessarily true. Even with fellow Taoist Ma's cultivation, he would be lost in the fog. Moreover, there is no spirit chi inside. The strength of a cultivator would be greatly suppressed. If a soul formation realm cultivator were to encounter a demon king in the fog, it would be very dangerous. After these nascent soul realm cultivators went deep into the primordial battlefield, they saw the strange purple-black fog. They found that this dangerous demonic fog was constantly spreading. A few cultivators who were accidentally swallowed by it never came out again. They had to activate the 5-spirit disk and leave the primordial battlefield. In the end, they saw this scene in front of them. Even the restriction that could resist a demon king was being eroded by this strange fog. Just as these people had different expressions on their faces, a blurry ball of light suddenly squeezed out from the grayish-white fog. The surrounding air became distorted and emitted a terrifying pressure that made their hair stand on end. However, when the light ball dispersed, they saw a few faces inside and couldn't help but feel excited. It's a soul formation realm cultivator. In the North Pole Mountain, Fairy Behan and the others stood on the edge of a cliff and looked at the flashing teleportation array in front of them with a serious expression. There was a white-haired old man standing on it. This old man's face was flushed with excitement. He was still in the joy of seeing Fairy Behan. Grand Elder, this is what happened. I sensed that the space power that was blocking the teleportation array suddenly disappeared, so I tried to activate the array and was directly teleported here. After he finished speaking, he suddenly noticed that the newly ascended divine transformation stage senior of his sect had a serious expression on his face. Even the sect master beside him had a grave expression on his face. He could only hear the sect master murmuring. He murmured, "According to the letter left by the founder, the space array of the broken nation is connected. This means that the space seal of the primordial battlefield has lost its effect." Could it be that what Master Lu said is true? The Second Demon War is about to begin. Chapter 1301. No one could imagine that the broken country had only been open for half a year and the spatial restriction at the entrance had already disappeared. As the cultivators inside left one after another, the news that the spatial seal had been destroyed by the demon race gradually spread out. However, before this news could spread out of the Diyuan province, the 5 Spirits Temple, Supreme Profound Sect, Blue Cloud Sect, and Huatian Temple announced several important matters through the Shadow Pavilion. First was the matter that happened in the ancient battlefield. The demon race took advantage of the spatial disturbance in the broken country to set up a terrifying formation that could cross realms, causing the entire ancient battlefield to be shrouded in a strange demonic fog. This demonic fog had a powerful illusion ability. If a spirit-severing cultivator wasn't careful, they would get lost in it. The demon race also sent 3 demon kings over. In the end, Senior Wu Wenshuan of the Origin Devil Sect was ambushed by the demon kings and his soul was destroyed. The other spirit-severing cultivators and 2 demon kings also almost died. Let me interrupt. The app that I've been using recently is supported by both Android and Apple phones. Fortunately, Master Lu of the Body Refining Pavilion arrived in time. With the powerful ability of a body cultivator, he directly killed one of the demon kings. Then, with everyone's cooperation, they killed the remaining 2 demon kings. However, at this time, the spatial seal had already been destroyed and the demon army was about to arrive. In the end, Master Lu expended his vitality and displayed a terrifying ability comparable to a spirit-severing middle-stage cultivator. It stirred up a spatial storm in the spatial crack and stopped the demon race's invasion. However, this spatial storm would completely disappear in at most 100 years and at least 80 years. At that time, the demon race's army would still arrive and the cultivation world would have to face the second demon race war. As for the second news, it was to tell all the cultivators not to worry. The current cultivation world was different from the ancient times. The suppression of the realms was even stronger. The demon race's spatial teleportation had a huge restriction. They could only send out 10 demon kings at most, and their cultivation couldn't exceed the spirit-severing middle stage. If they sent out a large army, the number of demon kings would definitely decrease. In short, the total strength of the demon race's teleportation wouldn't exceed 10 demon kings. Although the ancient battlefield's restriction was unable to trap existences above the rank of demon general due to the strange demonic fog formation, the entire broken country only had one entrance. If the entrance to the Guiyuan River was guarded, then even if the demon race teleported over 100 years later, the battle between the two sides would be limited to the broken country. Moreover, after the teleportation, an even more intense spatial storm would be stirred up. As long as the demons that crossed over 100 years later were wiped out, the safety of the next 500 years would be guaranteed. With the help of the Shadow Pavilion, the news quickly spread throughout the great Zhou dynasty. It even spread to the immortal cultivation world further away. The entire immortal cultivation world was shaken. After more than 70,000 years, the demon race actually invaded again. But what shocked the cultivators even more was Master Lu's ability to crush demon kings. All of a sudden, Lu Kuan's name resounded throughout the immortal cultivation world, and the Body Refining Pavilion became a top sect that everyone scrambled to join. Rogue cultivators without sex and powerful families all headed to the southwest immortal cultivation world. They all wanted to join the Body Refining Pavilion and cultivate the legendary body refining technique that could crush the demon race. High in the sky of the great Zhou's Ningxue province, Lu Yanjun of the blood refining sect flew while looking at a few jade slips in her hand. One of them contained news from the Shadow Pavilion. Master Lu's strength is so terrifying. He can even kill a terrifying existence like a demon king. Her eyes widened as if she couldn't digest this news. After a while, she calmed down and looked at another jade slip with a disappointed expression. Ever since Elder Peng died, the blood-refining sect began to weaken. How can a weak woman like me stop Master Lu? Even if Elder Qian broke through to the soul formation stage, he was still no match for Master Lu. Our sect had no choice but to follow Master Lu's instructions. Lu Yanjun couldn't help but look at the jade slip again. Master Lu actually has both the devil refining art and the phantom devil technique. And it's even more perfect than Elder Qian's. We've merged into the devil refining pavilion of the 6 body refining pavilions. What does this pavilion have to do with the devil refining art? He wants our disciples to cultivate both the devil refining art and the phantom devil technique after entering the nascent soul stage. After the war with the demon race, he'll also provide demonic zombies. This way, nascent soul stage demonic cultivators' cultivation speed will be greatly increased. And if there are suitable demonic zombies, I might even have a chance to break through to the soul formation stage. I have to go back and prepare. We have to destroy the Yin-Yang sect together with the Body Refining Pavilion. Thinking of this, Lu Yanjun's expression relaxed. She sped up and flew toward the southwest cultivation world. We're really going to leave this place. But Senior Apprentice Brother Han, Grand Elder's soul lamp isn't extinguished at all. A nascent soul female cultivator gritted her teeth and said in a meeting hall deep within the Prime Devil sect. There were a dozen or so nascent soul stage demonic cultivators sitting around her. When they heard this, they all looked at the 2 people sitting at the head of the table, as if waiting for a reply. The dark-skinned young man's face darkened. He scolded, "Junior apprentice sister, the soul formation seniors all said that senior apprentice uncle is dead. That means he's dead. There must be something wrong with his soul lamp." The nascent soul female cultivator wanted to say something, but a black-haired old man next to the young man said coldly, "Senior apprentice uncle's soul lamp has been destroyed by me. No one is allowed to mention the soul lamp in the future." The 2 people who spoke were the 2 remaining great cultivators of the Prime Devil sect. Seeing the attitude of the 2 senior apprentice brothers, the nascent soul stage cultivators' eyes dimmed. They didn't say anything. As demonic cultivators, how could they not understand the logic behind this? The fact that the soul lamp wasn't extinguished meant that senior apprentice uncle's spirit was still there. But those soul formation cultivators said that senior apprentice uncle was dead. The result was self-evident. Their senior apprentice uncle's nascent soul or nascent spirit had fallen into the hands of those old monsters. This kind of thing must be kept secret. If it angered those soul formation cultivators, the prime devil sect might be annihilated. The nascent soul female cultivator was unconvinced. But we still can't give Prime Devil Mountain to others. Are we going to fight for a new territory? Hearing this, the other nascent soul stage cultivators also spoke up. That's right, Senior Apprentice Brother Han. The Prime Devil sect is a sect that has been around for many years. How can it be moved so easily? Even if our strength is greatly reduced, we don't have to fear any demonic sect's attacks with the help of the formations left behind by our seniors. The Five Spirits Temple and the Blue Clouds sect can't use Devil Chi. They can't possibly invade our territory. If we give it to the Body Refining Pavilion, where will we go? The better Devil Dao Grotto heavens in the Great Zhou dynasty have all been occupied. These sects have one or two great cultivators, and they can't take it down. Feeling the bleak atmosphere in the hall, the dark-skinned youth sighed softly. Don't worry about this. Master Lu has already promised to give us the Blood Cloud Cave in the Dew Cloud State. When these nascent soul stage cultivators heard this, they immediately started discussing. The Blood Cloud Cave of the Blood Beast sect? Master Lu can persuade the Blood Beast sect? I'm afraid the Blood Beast sect won't give in. If we occupy the Blood Cloud Cave, where will the Blood Beast sect go? They won't attack after we go in, right? Listening to these people's discussion, the dark-skinned youth said slowly, according to Master Lu, the founder of the Blood Beast sect and the Grand Elder of the Body Refining Pavilion have a relationship. This demonic sect will be merged into the Spirit Transforming Pavilion in the Body Refining Pavilion. As for the cultivators of the Blood Beast sect, they will move directly to this primordial demon mountain. He sighed. Several soul formation stage cultivators and Master Lu. Even if Uncle Master is here, the difference in strength is too great. Although the Blood Cloud Cave is slightly inferior to the primordial demon mountain, it's still one of the top Devil Dao sacred grounds. Everyone was stunned. The Blood Beast sect is actually related to the Body Refining Pavilion? The former seems to have been passed down for more than 70,000 years, while the Body Refining Pavilion only appeared in the last few hundred years. How can the Grand Elder have a relationship with the Blood Beast sect? Master Lu can't have forcefully annexed it with his strength, can he? At this moment, the dark-skinned youth seemed to have sensed something. He made a hand seal, and a voice transmission talisman flew in from outside the hall. He scanned it with his divine consciousness and sighed softly. There's no need to guess. Fairy Su Yao of the Blood Beast sect has already come to our sect to discuss the migration of the sect with us. Hearing this, the nascent soul stage demonic cultivators couldn't help but look at each other. Chapter 1302. The Huatian province was located on the east bank of the Guiyuan River, north of the Tongtian River. It had a vast area and was even comparable to the Deyuan province. This area was next to two rivers with mixed spiritual qi, so the demonic qi and spiritual qi were relatively uniform. This was not a good place for cultivation for Taoist and devil sections. However, it was extremely suitable for Buddhist cultivators who cultivated demonic spiritual qi at the same time. Therefore, the cultivation sects in the Huatian province were all Buddhist temples. There were about 20 to 30 of them, and the most powerful one was the Huatian temple. Although these temples were all sects, they were all led by the Huatian temple. In the Great Zhou dynasty, Buddhism was very prosperous. Other than the Huatian province, there were also temples in other places with mixed demonic spiritual qi. All the Buddhist disciples added together were more powerful than the Five Spirits Temple. Because their cultivation methods were widely circulated, Even rogue cultivators could buy introductory Buddhist cultivation methods in the market. This meant that not only did Buddhism have no lack of disciples, it was also very difficult to eliminate them. In addition, with Zhi Yuan, a powerhouse comparable to a pseudo-soul formation cultivator, Buddhism could even be considered the #1 power in the Great Zhou dynasty. However, they stood aloof from worldly affairs and had no intention of fighting for territory. In the northeast of the Huatian province, there was a vast mountain range with a flat top. It was like a long dragon crawling on the ground. On the flat top of the mountain, there were many antique buildings. This was where the Huatian temple was located. The mountain range was surrounded by white clouds that could calm one's mind. Monks in monk robes were walking around. These people all had magic power, and there were even some nascent soul monks. However, no matter what cultivation level these monks had, they did not fly in the air. Instead, they walked barefoot in the mountains and the temples. However, those with higher cultivation levels walked faster. Dong! Dong! At this moment, the sound of a bell suddenly came from the direction of the cliff behind the mountain. The leisurely sound rolled in all directions until it reached 100 miles away. All the monks who had reached the core formation realm who heard the bell, whether they were hurrying on their journey or chanting scriptures, all revealed a solemn expression. They sat cross-legged on the ground and began chanting strange scriptures in the direction of the back mountain. At the same time, the surrounding antique buildings lit up with a faint white restrictive power. Traces of faint golden light flew out from everyone's body and poured into the white restrictive power. The golden light flowed along the restriction and gathered at the back of the mountain. Not long after, the cliff there lit up with a bright golden light and then dimmed. Seeing this scene, the monks chanted a Buddhist mantra towards the back mountain. Then, they got up and continued what they were doing. In the barren valley under the cliff behind the mountain cliff, there were 3 figures. Among them was a fat monk Abbot Zhi Yuan. As for the other 2 people, Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian. To the abbot. The abbot was Abbot Zhi Yuan. To the other 2 people, Lu Abbot was Abbot. As Abbot was Abbot Hong Yuntian. A sext to the mountain to the sect to province to the mountain. To the surface was a cave 100 feet. To the surface was a cave 100 feet wide. Was to be a cultivators. To it. Even Hong Yuntian, who was standing to the side, had a hint of surprise in his eyes. Zhi Yuan put his palms together and said, "Although there are no scriptures here, it is related to the secrets of Buddhism. Naturally, the restrictive power is more complicated. I've made Master Lu wait for a long time." While speaking, Abbot Zhi Yuan took a step forward and walked into the huge cave. At the same time, he said, "When I visited the body refining pavilion last time, I wanted to invite Master Lu here. I didn't expect it to be delayed until now." "Is this the secret of the giant long-armed ape that you mentioned?" These are all murals." Lu Kuan showed some curiosity as he sized up the scene inside the cave. This was a spacious cave. The surrounding walls were carved with all kinds of images. The rocks of the mountain were a kind of refining material. Apart from that, there was nothing special about this place. But when Lu Kuan saw a mural, he suddenly looked surprised and said, "This mural is of the giant long-armed ape?" Hong Yuntian followed Lu Kuan's gaze and saw a group of ape demon beasts on the wall. There were apes in the shape of humans as well as ape. However, they were all surrounding 3 ape. The most eye-catching one was a huge ape with thick arms and a strong body. Even through the mural, one could feel its fierce aura. Beside it stood a handsome ape with beautiful facial features. Although this ape was shorter than the giant long-armed ape, its expression was very arrogant. It seemed that its aura was not inferior to the giant long-armed ape. As for the third one, it was a long-faced macaque. Its figure was slightly larger than the handsome ape, and its body was surrounded by something like a cloud and mist. It seemed like a stream of water and also like some kind of spiritual light, and it seemed extremely mysterious. Lu Kuan's face was a little shocked. This mural was almost exactly the same as the one he saw in the Black Ape Cave in the mountains. Thousands of thoughts ran through his mind. After a while, he asked, "How did you get this mural?" Abbot Zhiyuan was not surprised that Lu Kuan knew about the giant long-armed ape. He put his palms together and said, "This was painted by the senior who founded Buddhism. Unfortunately, the original mural is long gone. This was painted by the senior spiritual King Buddha, the founder of Buddhism." Lu Kuan's expression was a little strange. He pointed at the handsome divine monkey and said, "So, you also know about the wise stone monkey." Abbot Zhiyuan was surprised at first. Then, he said with a little excitement, "Master Lu actually knows about the wise stone monkey." Hong Yuntian looked at the monkey on the mural and remembered that Lu Kuan had told him about the origin of the body refining pavilion's mountain of vows. The curiosity in his eyes became even more intense. Lu Kuan said slowly, "In addition to the wise stone monkey and the long-armed ape monkey, the third ape on the mural is the red-bone horse monkey. There is also a six-eared macaque that is not painted on the mural. It is known as the four spiritual monkeys." 4 spiritual monkeys. Our Buddhism only knows about the wise stone monkey and the long-armed ape monkey. There are also 2 kinds of magical apes that are equally heaven-defying. Abbot Zhiyuan's eyes were a little blank. It seemed that he had never heard of the 4 spiritual monkeys. Hong Yuntian had the same expression. Even with his experience as an elder of Yiyuan school, he had never heard of the 4 spiritual monkeys. Lu Kuan saw that Zhiyuan's expression did not seem to be fake. He asked, "How does Buddhism know about the wise stone monkey? Is it the senior who founded Buddhism?" Amitabha, great spiritual Lord Buddha. Zhiyuan chanted the name of Buddha. "Master Lu, please follow this old monk," he said as he walked. In fact, the murals here describe the origin of Buddhism. Most of them were left behind by the spiritual Lord Buddha. There are also some that were found by other Buddhist disciples in various ancient ruins. Following the monkey mural, the few of them walked to the other side. On the mural, there was a young monk in ragged clothes with a few dot marks on his head. This monk had a dignified appearance. He had a handsome face and a compassionate expression. His eyes were open and closed. He sat cross-legged on a jade cattail and held a string of Buddhist beads in his hand. In front of him sat 5 people. These people were also dressed in ragged clothes and seemed to be living in poverty. They were all listening with their mouths slightly open, as if they were chanting the scriptures along with the young monk. Abbot Zhiyuan said, "This is the senior who founded Buddhism. This is the only mural with his complete appearance." According to the spiritual Lord Buddha's calculations, the scene in this mural is already more than 100,000 years from now. He sighed and said, "It's a pity that the legend of this senior is only passed down by word of mouth. No one knows his name or Buddhist name." Lu Kuan looked at the young monk and suddenly said, "There must be some Buddhist scriptures or scriptures that have been passed down, right?" Abbot Zhiyuan said, "According to our Buddhist records, the current Buddhist scriptures, tracing back to their origins, were all passed down by this senior. However, his cultivation did not seem to have reached the core formation stage. His consciousness cultivation was limited and the jade slips could only be preserved for a few hundred years. The original copies have long disappeared in the long river of history. Only these murals have resisted the passage of time. As for the Buddhist scriptures that this senior left behind, they were all focused on cultivating one's state of mind. There was no real cultivation method. The Buddhist scriptures were only developed after tens of thousands of years of constant modification. During the early stages of the First Great Demon War, Buddhism was at its peak. After the fusion of heaven and earth, the spiritual Lord Buddha improved the Buddhist scriptures and developed it to its current state. At this point, Ji Yuan pointed to the second mural. Lu Kuan was slightly stunned when he saw it. It was a painting of an old monk. From his forehead, he could vaguely see that it was the handsome young monk from before. At this moment, he had his head lowered and was drawing something on the ground with one hand. In front of him, there was a handsome ape kneeling in front of him. His face was filled with anxiety and sorrow. This scene is, Abbot Ji Yuan sighed softly and said, according to the records, this senior's Buddhist scriptures had reached an extremely high level. However, for some reason, his cultivation was stuck at the foundation establishment stage. He did not even break through to the core formation stage. This mural is the final moment of the founder's death. Chapter 1303. Foundation Establishment Stage. Passing away, Lu Kuan muttered to himself. He couldn't help but ask, his tone a little agitated. How do you know that this is the moment of his death? And how do you know the identity of the wise stone monkey from this mural? Master Lu, follow me and take a look. Abbot Ji Yuan saw the change in Lu Kuan's emotions, but he didn't ask anything. Instead, he took a step forward and walked to the next mural. Although this senior who founded Buddhism didn't enter the core formation stage, the Buddhist teachings he passed down were incomparably mysterious. They could save people from suffering and spread quickly in the mortal countries. Lu Kuan suppressed the doubts in his heart and looked forward. The mural on the wall was a temple hall. Inside there were more than 10 monks, all chanting scriptures. However, there was no Buddha statue here. All the monks were facing a portrait. This portrait was the first mural. It was the young monk holding prayer beads. His eyes seemed to be open and closed, and he had a peaceful expression. Gradually, some Qi refinement stage rogue cultivators joined Buddhism. They were all too old and had poor aptitude. They were abandoned by the immortal cultivation sect. Ji Yuan said as he walked forward. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian also saw the next mural. It was still a temple, but above it there was an old man flying on a magic tool. His face was ferocious and his eyes were bloodshot. Below him there was a monk chanting scriptures. These rogue cultivators had a deep obsession with breaking through to the next realm and increasing their lifespan. However, due to their limited aptitudes, it was impossible for them to break through. There was a problem with their mental state which caused a lot of killing in the mortal world. In the words of Buddhism, they had already become obsessed with the devil and lived a very painful life. Later, by chance, they were enlightened by a senior with profound Buddhist teachings and entered Buddhism to study Buddhism. These rogue cultivators discovered that through the study of Buddhism, their obsession was greatly alleviated and their state of mind became peaceful. Later, more and more Qi refinement stage cultivators with deep obsession joined Buddhism. These senior cultivators studied Buddhism and discussed with each other. Their cultivation actually had a breakthrough. After more than 100 years of study, they walked a path of cultivation with the help of Buddhism. Ji Yuan continued walking forward. Everyone's gaze fell on the next mural. At this time, there were many bald Buddhist cultivators holding prayer beads in the air above the temple. Without the help of magic tools, they were obviously at the core formation stage. This kind of unconventional Buddhist cultivators were quickly discovered by the cultivators who were observant. An immortal cultivation sect's elder even discovered that one of the late core formation stage cultivators was an old disciple who was expelled from the sect because his aptitudes were too poor. This sect believes that it is the effect of Buddhist cultivation techniques that can allow people with low aptitudes to cultivate to an extremely high realm. Ji Yuan didn't stop. He looked at the murals in front of him and sighed. The greed of cultivators is even more terrifying than that of mortals. Under the coercion of this sect, the Buddhist sect handed over the cultivation technique in order to protect their disciples. Those immortal cultivators didn't know that although the comprehension of Buddhism has nothing to do with one's spiritual roots, it has a high requirement for one's comprehension. For these Buddhist seniors to be able to walk out of their previous obsessions, they must have reached a very deep level in their Dharma. The cultivation path they created is closely related to their Dharma cultivation. Those greedy immortal cultivators will not only fail to cultivate it successfully, they might even suffer from qi deviation. The mural in front of everyone depicted a middle-aged monk handing a jade slip to an old man with a long sword on his back. Ji Yuan's expression was sorrowful. You can imagine the result. This sect discovered that almost all the disciples who cultivated Buddhism died from qi deviation. Those who were alive couldn't improve. They all thought that the sect's seniors deliberately gave them fake cultivation method. In the end, they directly killed their way here. Lu Kuan and the others looked at the next mural. They saw a group of immortal cultivators wearing the same clothes surrounding this Buddhist temple. Just as the Buddhist sect was about to be wiped out, the wise stone monkey appeared. He displayed terrifying strength. Not only did he kill all the immortal cultivators who came, he even massacred the entire sect. Hearing Ji Yuan's words, Lu Kuan looked forward. On the wall, there was a painting of a majestic ape. It stood quietly in midair. Lightning and ice dragons, together with all kinds of wind spells, gushed out from its head and drowned the group of cultivators. Ji Yuan sighed. Senior Wise Stone Monkey came into contact with the Buddhist sect. Only then did we know his identity. This bad-tempered and murderous demon was actually the disciple of the founder of the Buddhist sect. More importantly, in just 400 to 500 years, this demon senior's cultivation had already reached the level of a demon king. The reason why our Buddhist sect knew about the wise stone monkey was because of this demon senior. Under his protection, the Buddhist sect was able to grow in the cruel immortal cultivation world. Hong Yuntian was amazed. He looked at the mural in front of him. On the roof of the temple, there was a handsome ape with straw in its mouth, and one leg crossed over the other. He had heard from Lu Kuan that this demon king had cultivated to the late stage of the demon king. With such strength, it could have broken through the void with its own abilities and ascended to the higher realm. Who knew that it would have perished together with an enemy? Lu Kuan was in a daze. He repeated Ji Yuan's words in his heart. The wise stone monkey was the disciple of that Buddhist senior when he was on earth. Although he did not read any nonsense, how could he not know about the famous journey to the west? With Ji Yuan's description and the mural from before, Lu Kuan was certain of the identity of that handsome monk. He was an eminent monk from the Tang dynasty, Tang Xuanzang. According to the flow of time in the immortal cultivation world, more than 100,000 years ago, which was more than 1,000 years ago on Earth, was the era of the Tang dynasty. Tang Xuanzang was the founder of Buddhism in the immortal cultivation world. In other words, he was the same as Lu Kuan, transmigrating from Earth. However, wasn't he immortal? How did he pass away? Alright, even if immortality was fake, his aptitude couldn't be so bad that he couldn't form his core. Otherwise, why would so many demons covet his physical body? Other than Tang Xuanzang, there were also the 4 spiritual monkeys. The reborn wise stone monkey was waiting in the body refining pavilion. The long-armed ape Lu Kuan even had its bloodline. With Xiao Jin's appearance and supernatural powers, it was definitely the 6-eared macaque. Only the red-bone horse monkey could not be found. He had seen 3 of the 4 spiritual monkeys. It was very likely that they had come from Earth. Now, in this Buddhist holy land, he found traces of Tang Xuanzang's existence. In other words, the gods and Buddhas in Earth's mythology also existed. However, where did they go? Why did 3 of the 4 spiritual monkeys come over, but there was no trace of these existences? Although Lu Kuan did not know what kind of supernatural powers the fusion stage in the upper realm had, in his opinion, it could not be compared to the gods and Buddhas in Earth's legends. Even if their supernatural powers were only a small part of the legends, the human race would not be so miserable. Not only were there no powerhouses to guard them, even their cultivation techniques were derived from the techniques of other races. In Lu Kuan's impression, the gods and Buddhas seemed to be divided into Chanism, Jie sect, and Western sect. However, they were mainly divided into Buddhism and Taoism. The Buddhas in the immortal cultivation world were brought by Tang Xuanzang. What about Taoism? Could Taoism have also been brought over by a certain mythical figure? What about the demons? What about the Taowu and Yazi that he had seen? What did these have to do with Earth? After Lu Kuan confirmed Tang Xuanzang's identity, more and more doubts appeared in his mind. Even his body began to tremble. Lu Kuan, what's wrong with you? Lu Kuan took a deep breath and calmed down. He said, Brother Hong, as an elder of Yuan sect, do you know the origin of the human race's Taoism? Taoism? Hong Yuntian asked curiously. Isn't Taoism cultivation? Taoism and Taoism have the same meaning. From your tone, does the word Taoism have other meanings? Upon hearing this, Lu Kuan could not help but frown. At this moment, he realized that there was a huge difference between this immortal cultivation world and the ancient immortal cultivation world on Earth. It seemed that they were two completely different paths. Although he did not know how the gods and Buddhas in the legends cultivated, at least he knew that the word Taoism should be somewhat similar to Buddhism. It was related to cultivating one's state of mind. However, the cultivation techniques in the immortal cultivation world were only related to cultivating one's state of mind when one needed to comprehend willpower at the soul-forming stage. Ji Yuan looked at Lu Kuan's expression and could not help but ask, Master Lu, how do you know about the wise stone monkey? You seem to know the founder of Buddhism. Lu Kuan was silent for a moment and said slowly, in addition to the long-armed giant ape, Lu also has a little bit of the wise stone monkey's bloodline. I have seen fragments of the bloodline memory, but the information is limited. I only know that the founder of Buddhism is called Tang Xuanzang. He did not tell the truth. Instead, he hid the origin of Tang Xuanzang and the gods and Buddhas in the legends of Earth deep in his heart. Faced with the mysteries that appeared in his heart, Lu Kuan had an impulse to clear the fog and seek the truth. In addition, there was an indescribable fear in his heart. Chapter 1304. The Ancestor of Body Cultivators has taken a 2-day leave. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 1305. So Master Lu has the bloodline of the spiritual stone monkey. No wonder he could create the path of the human race's body refinement. Ji Yuan had no idea what Lu Kuan was thinking. She was enlightened. Lu Kuan was surprised. Why? Could it be that the bloodline of the spiritual stone monkey is special? Ji Yuan smiled but didn't say anything. She gestured for them to move forward. Everyone continued to look at the murals. It was a huge mountain range. Other than some temples, they could also see many monkeys jumping in the forest. In order to protect the Buddhist sect, which was still very weak at that time, the spiritual stone monkey lived nearby. At the same time, a large number of monkey demonic beasts gathered. Speaking of this, Ji Yuan sighed. Whether it was in the ancient times or now, the greed of the immortal cultivators couldn't be quenched. The demon kings in the ancient times were all ancient mutated species. Normal soul formation cultivators couldn't afford to offend them. But among these ancient mutated species, there were no monkey demonic beasts. Therefore, after the news of that battle spread, some soul formation cultivators had some thoughts. They felt that their abilities couldn't be compared to the mutated demon kings, and wanted to keep them as their spiritual pet. However, when these immortal cultivators arrived, other than the spiritual stone monkey, There was also a long-armed giant ape. They seemed to have known about the immortal cultivator's arrival. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian looked to the back. On the mural, there were 4 immortal cultivators with sage-like demeanors. The spiritual stone monkey was floating in the air, and beside him was a burly ape with incomparably thick arms. The spiritual stone monkey and the long-armed giant ape were hot-tempered. When they saw the immortal cultivators, they took the initiative to fight. Although there was a mid-stage soul formation cultivator among them, the 2 monkey demonic beasts had the upper hand. The spiritual stone monkey's control of the 5 elements Dharma spells had reached an unbelievable level. The same Dharma spells cast by it were much more powerful. Its physical body was also strong. It could even withstand the Dharma treasures of the soul formation cultivators. The long-armed giant ape's physical defense and strength were even stronger. They easily defeated the strong enemies when they worked together. The mural depicted a battle scene. The 2 thick arms of the long-armed ape monkey each held a sword and saber Dharma treasure. It seemed to have snatched them from the hands of the immortal cultivators. It stood in front of the 4 immortal cultivators with the wise stone monkey behind it. With a raise of its hand, it summoned many lightning dragons and fire dragons, which covered the sky and surged towards the other party. When Lu Kuan saw this, he thought of what the spiritual stone monkey had told him about the innate 5 elements body. This kind of aptitude seemed to be able to control all sorts of powerful spells, and even increase their might. At this moment, Hong Yuntian suddenly said, "In the Yiyuan school, there was a large-scale war between the demon clan and the human clan. It seemed to be caused by a battle between a demon king and a divine transformation realm cultivator. Could it be this scene?" Zhiyuan put her palms together and chanted the name of Buddha. Great spiritual Lord Buddha, the great war of the demon race 100,000 years ago was caused by the wise stone monkey. When Hong Yuntian heard that, his expression was shaken as he said, "Legend has it that the demon race created the shape-shifting cultivation method in that great battle. The strength of the race increased greatly, suppressing the human race. Could this demon cultivation path be related to the spiritual stone monkey? Created the demonic cultivation method?" Lu Kuan couldn't help but look back. The mural depicted 2 groups of people. The left group was led by the wise stone monkey and the long-armed ape monkey. Behind them was a dense crowd of demonic beasts that looked strange. Most of them were half human and half demon. On the right group was a group of human clan cultivators. Zhiyuan nodded slowly and said, "In the Buddhist records, it was the wise stone monkey that created the shape-shifting demonic cultivation path." Hong Yuntian murmured, "It is said that in ancient times, ordinary demonic beasts could cultivate to the 8th level at most in their lifetime. If they wanted to reach the 9th or 10th level, they would have to rely on their own bloodline aptitude. This was even more so for the demon king. Every demon king in the immortal cultivation world was a strange existence that was born from the heavens and earth. Their innate magical powers were terrifying, their physical bodies were strong, and their combat power was incomparably shocking. Immortal cultivators didn't dare to provoke them at all. However, other than these top demonic beasts, there was a lack of high-level demonic beasts. The cultivation of demonic beasts after the 8th level is to constantly accumulate dense demonic spiritual energy. Due to the difference in bloodline aptitude, demonic beasts' conversion rate towards the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is greatly different. Moreover, the larger the body, the slower the speed of accumulating demonic spiritual energy. Even if the demonic beasts have a longer lifespan than the human clan, there are still many demonic beasts that can't break through the 8th level in their lifetime, not to mention the demon king. However, after the appearance of the shape-shifting demonic cultivation, as long as they pass the thunder tribulation, they can possess the dantian and meridians of the human clan. Their cultivation speed will greatly increase, and the number of demonic beasts above the 8th level will increase greatly. Ji Yuan continued. In addition to speeding up cultivation, this new demonic cultivation path can also dig deeper into the frenzy in the bloodline. Even if the bloodline is thin, a peak 10th level demonic beast has a chance to activate a trace of the frenzy in it and try to break through to the Demon King realm. Therefore, during that period, many demon kings with ordinary bloodlines appeared. Those demonic beasts without innate magical powers can use the meridians and dantian of the human clan to cast spells. They can also refine the hard parts of their bodies into life treasures to nurture. It can be said that the wise stone monkey directly increased the overall strength of the demonic beasts by a large margin. Lu Kuan looked at the wise stone monkey on the mural, and his expression was shaken. He had a deep understanding of the demonic cultivation body. Even the cultivation method of the bone transformation stage was based on the shape-shifting demonic beasts. But he didn't expect that this demonic cultivation path was actually created by the wise stone monkey. Following that, Lu Kuan had many doubts. Because the life force revolves in the spine, only the vertebrate demonic beasts in the immortal cultivation world can shapeshift into human form. But the wise stone monkey came from Earth. According to myths and legends, some demonic beasts on Earth, such as spider demons, scorpion demons, and so on, were arthropods. Why can they shapeshift into human form? The demonic beasts in Earth's myths and the demonic beasts in the immortal cultivation world have two different cultivation methods. The wise stone monkey borrowed the cultivation method of the Earth's demons and created the shape-shifting demonic cultivation path. Lu Kuan had heard Fang Yuan say before that the 8th level shapeshifting was already engraved in the demonic beast's bloodline. How to break through to the peak of the 7th level had already become an instinct. How did the wise stone monkey turn this cultivation path into an instinct of the demonic beast? The demonic beasts had bloodline memories. Could this also be a type of bloodline memories? Then, could the body refiner carve out a bloodline memory similar to the demonic beasts? A series of questions appeared in Lu Kuan's mind. He couldn't wait to immediately awaken the wise stone monkey in the body refining pavilion's mountain of vows. Abbot Ji Yuan didn't know what he was thinking and continued. The wise stone monkey relied on its prestige and strength to be called the demonic emperor by the demonic beast. At that time, the long-armed giant ape and the red-bone horse monkey that Master Lu spoke of were also called the demonic emperor. The prestige of the demonic emperor has already been engraved in the demonic beast's bloodline. As he spoke, he continued to walk forward. On the next wall, there was a mural of the 3 spiritual monkeys standing side by side. Later on, the wise stone monkey disappeared. It should have ascended to the upper realm. However, the strange thing is that it didn't leave behind any descendant. Only the long-armed giant ape spread its branches and became a powerful demonic beast race. At this moment, Abbot Ji Yuan looked at Lu Kuan and said sincerely, Master Lu has the bloodline of both the long-armed giant ape and the wise stone monkey. It's equivalent to half a demonic emperor. At the same time, he's also a human immortal cultivator. If Master Lu is willing to go out and move around, there's a great possibility that he can reunite the demonic beasts and try to resolve the hatred between the demonic beasts and humans. When Lu Kuan heard this, he finally understood what Ji Yuan meant. This guy's brain was really pedantic. He actually wanted him to help resolve the conflict between the two races. However, the demonic beasts were ultimately demonic beasts. Those who weren't of the same race would definitely have different intentions. If not for the fact that Lu Kuan was strong enough, as a human body cultivator and a traditional immortal cultivator, they would probably have fought. There was no such thing as true peace. There was only the difference in strength. Now that the human race was strong and the demonic beasts were weak, even without the demonic emperor's bloodline, the human race could take the initiative to reconcile with the demonic beast. Just like how the 5 Spirits Temple asked the Swan and Eye Dragon King to come over and help. However, if the demonic beasts were strong and the human race was weak in the future, would the demonic beasts be kind enough to let the human race go? Lu Kuan looked at the sincere fat monk and shook his head. Abbot Ji Yuan, after this breakthrough, Lu's demonic bloodline has been completely cleansed and turned into a pure human bloodline. He even lost the ability to transform into a demonic ape. I'm unable to help you with this request. Furthermore, he doesn't need the demonic beast's help to fight against the demonic beast. Body cultivators are enough. Abbot Ji Yuan revealed a disappointed expression. However, Lu Kuan's words soon reached his ears. However, if Master Abbot has any information about the ape demonic beasts, you can tell me. Although Lu's demonic emperor's bloodline has disappeared, he still has some confidence in persuading the ape demonic beasts. Chapter 1306. At the border of the ancient spirit state and the Huatian state, there was a steep mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles. It was mixed with demonic spiritual qi, and the mountain range was filled with brown pine needles and trees. Each of them was more than 30 meters tall. It was a spectacular sight to behold. As the mountain range stretched towards the northwest, the trees on it became fewer and fewer, and it gradually became barren. At the westernmost end, bare rocks bordered the gray Zhongming Mountain. At the intersection of the two mountain ranges, due to the demonic spiritual qi and yin qi, all kinds of chaotic spiritual qi storms surged, forming a huge valley with a diameter of 50 kilometers. But now, the chaotic storms in the valley had disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a black and white fog that attracted the demonic spiritual qi around it. The majestic energy of heaven and earth intersected with each other, forming two black and white ribbons in the sky. With the valley as the center, they slowly rotated. Other than the demonic spiritual qi, there was an endless stream of cultivators flying. Some of them used flying Dharma artifacts, while others flew through the void. Not only were there many low-level cultivators, but there were also many core formation cultivators. Among these cultivators, there was a man and two women who were extremely eye-catching. Their bodies were wrapped in light blue light. The man wore a snow-white brocade robe and had a dignified appearance. He held a folding fan in his hand and looked carefree. On his left and right were twin sisters. Although they had similar faces, one was voluptuous while the other was tall and slender. They each had their own merit. The three of them attracted the attention of many cultivators. But when they felt the unfathomable power in the light, they were all shocked and didn't dare to look at them. This Tianyuan market is so prosperous. It doesn't look like a market that was built 3 years ago. Lu Jinyuan looked at the endless stream of cultivators around him and sighed as he waved his feather fan. The voluptuous Lan Yuner said excitedly, "Yeah, we even met a few nascent soul cultivators." The tall and slender Lan Yuner didn't say anything, but her eyes flashed as she looked around. Her eyes were filled with surprise. The three of them quickly arrived in the sky above the valley. Lu Jinyuan didn't enter the valley from below like the other cultivators. Instead, he took out a jade talisman and moved his lips slightly as if he was communicating with someone. At this moment, he suddenly sensed something and raised his head to look towards the south. There was a white-haired middle-aged man who had just flown out of the fog and was looking at him in a daze. When he saw Lu Jinyuan looking over, he cupped his hands and hurriedly turned into a streak of light and flew in the direction of the Guiyuan River. Isn't that the Grand Elder of the Supreme Profound Sect, fellow Taoist Emo? He also came to the Tianyuan market? Feeling a little strange, Lu Jinyuan couldn't help but spread out his peak nascent soul late-stage divine sense, covering an area of 100 miles. Soon, his expression became strange. In addition to Emo Hongkai of the Xian sect, there were 2 other grand cultivators. There were more than 10 nascent soul stage cultivators. If he was not mistaken, These people were the nascent soul stage elders of the various major sects of the great Zhou dynasty. Those who knew him hurriedly greeted him, while those who did not know him hurriedly left. It seemed that they were all in a hurry. Could it be that a large-scale auction was just held? Just as Lu Jinyuan was puzzled, the jade talisman in his hand suddenly lit up and a voice came from it. Sect Master, go directly to the flat-top mountain at the border of the middle underworld mountain. Pavilion Master Chun of the Star Moon Pavilion is waiting there and can start at any time. I can't leave now. Ah, it's Senior Ice Spirit, why did you come personally? Then the voice in the voice transmission talisman came to an abrupt end. Senior Ma calls her Senior. Is she in the soul formation stage? Lan Yun'er heard the last sentence and couldn't help but be stunned. It should be Master Ice Spirit of the Five Spirits Temple. Lu Jinyuan was stunned, then shook his head and said, no matter what they are busy with, Master Lu's task is more important. Let's go first. After saying that, he did not enter the market below, but flew towards the north. The twin sisters followed closely behind, their eyes flashing with curiosity. Those nascent soul stage cultivators were not a big deal, but there was a soul formation stage senior here. Could it be that there was a soul formation stage trade fair here? Lan Yun'er couldn't help but ask, Sect Master, why don't we go down and have a look? Lan Yun'er's bright eyes looked at Lu Jinyuan, flashing with anticipation. Lu Jinyuan shook his head and said, the Grand Elder is still guarding the spell formation in the extreme north, waiting for us to locate him. Also, this is a task that Master Lu has personally instructed us to do. We can't afford to neglect it. As for the special auction in the Tianyuan market, Junior Ma will naturally tell us when he is done with his work. Lan Yun'er's plump lips pouted a few times, but she still obediently followed behind her sect master's light. The three of them, one in the nascent soul late stage and the other two in the nascent soul early stage, covered a distance of tens of miles in a flash. Soon, they arrived at the northern part of the Tianyuan market, at the edge of the black and white fog restriction. Sect Master Lu? At this moment, a spiritual will suddenly surged out from a mountain surrounded by gray, cold yin qi. Lu Jinyuan followed the direction of the spiritual will and looked over. The mountain peak was gray and blurry, but as his spiritual will neared, the fog above parted to both sides. It was like a strange restriction that relied on the cold yin qi. On the platform of the mountain peak below the restriction, there stood three nascent soul cultivators. The leader was Qin Mingzhu of the Chu Nation's Star Moon Pavilion. There were several spatial cracks above their heads, and traces of cold yin qi flowed out from them. Three huge spell formations with a diameter of a few feet sat on the ground in a triangular formation. These spirit arrays were engraved with extremely complex array runes, flashing with a crystal-clear luster. They were all engraved with ethereal spirit crystals, and in the grooves around each spirit array, there were several pieces of high-grade spirit stones. Lu Jinyuan brought the twins to the top of the mountain. He clasped his fists and said, Pavilion Master Qin, nice to meet you. I am Lu Jinyuan of the Northern Yuan sect. Qin Mingzhu clasped his hands and said excitedly, Sect Master Lu, we have used the 10,000 miles talisman to communicate for many years, so let's skip the formalities. The teleportation spell formation here is ready, and we are just waiting for you to activate the power of space with your secret technique. Lu Jinyuan nodded and turned to instruct, you may begin. The Lan sisters obediently walked forward and came to the bottom of the spatial crack. They took out their magic tools and began to draw on the ground in the center of the three spell formations. Lu Jinyuan touched his chin and said, Pavilion Master Churn, apart from the extreme north, the other two spell formations are connected to the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud and the Southwest Immortal Cultivation World? Qin Mingzhu nodded excitedly and said, That's right. Calculating the time, the fellow Taoists from Eastern Cloud should be arriving soon. When the power of space in the spatial cracks is activated, the 3 cultivator areas will be connected. Tianyuan Market will become the most lively place in the entire immortal cultivation world. Hearing this, Lu Jinyuan sighed and said, "Only Master Lu's strength can mobilize the entire immortal cultivation world. Otherwise, just this market alone will be fought to the death by the major forces." Chen Mingzhu said with deep emotion, "That's right. When the major sects really unite, the power that can erupt is beyond imagination. For example, this ultra-long-distance teleportation spell formation. If it weren't for our 2 sects complementing each other, it would be impossible to set it up." Although Star Moon Pavilion was proficient in all kinds of spell formations, the teleportation spell formation in front of them covered an astonishing distance. With Star Moon Pavilion's attainments in spell formations, it was impossible to complete it. Later, under the leadership of Lu Kuan, they contacted the Northern Yuan sect in the extreme north. This sect was left behind by Yuan sect to stabilize the reverse spirit channel and was extremely proficient in space-type spell formations. The 2 sides communicated for more than 2 years before they completed the plan. This ultra-long-distance teleportation spell formation not only required a large number of space spirit crystals, but also the power of space in the spatial cracks. Lu Jinyuan looked around and saw the gloomy cold air outside. He was somewhat puzzled and said, "By the way, there are many places with spatial cracks in the Great Zhou dynasty. Why did Master Lu choose Zhongming Mountain? As far as I know, the zombie kings living there are not to be underestimated." Chen Mingzhu smiled and said, "With Master Lu's strength, even the metal elite zombie is nothing. I heard from a fellow cultivator in the body refining pavilion that the zombie kings here have reached some kind of agreement with the body refining pavilion. Not only will they not harass Tianyuan Market, they will even take the initiative to guard the north. With this area without any demonic aura and dense spatial cracks as a barrier, the safety of the market will be greatly increased. After the Second Demon War begins, this Tianyuan Market can become a logistics base for cultivators to support the front line at any time." Logistics base, no wonder they chose this place. It turns out that they are using Zhongming Mountain as a second barrier. Lu Jinyuan revealed a look of realization. At this time, he finally understood why this Tianyuan Market was so big. He heard from his junior brother, who joined the Southwest Chamber of Commerce, that this Tianyuan Market took more than a year to build with the joint efforts of all the major sections. Shops and auction houses were only a small part of this place. There were also several large refining towers and alchemy rooms. There was also a ferry by the Guiyuan River where large battleships were being built. In addition, in the south of the valley, there was a demonic spirit stone mine. In the past, due to the threat of the zombie kings in Zhongming Mountain, no forces were willing to mine this mine. But now, after the establishment of Tianyuan Market, people were organized to collect spirit stones and demonic stones as reserves for the market. With the 3 ultra-long-distance teleportation arrays in front of them, cultivators from the extreme north, the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud, and the Southwest Immortal Cultivation World could be teleported here at any time. Tianyuan Market could be said to be connected to the entire Immortal Cultivation World. It was not only a giant market, but also a logistics base for the Second Demon War. The error-free chapters of The Ancestor of Body Cultivators will continue to be updated in the new Booksy Pavilion. There are no advertisements in the website. Please bookmark and recommend the new Booksy Pavilion. If you like The Ancestor of Body Cultivators, please bookmark. The Ancestor of Body Cultivators' new Booksy Pavilion is the fastest to update. Chapter 1307. While Lu Jinyuan and Chen Mingzhu were talking, the Lan sisters had finished drawing the formation. Following their activation, the cracks in the space on the flat peak started to tremble. The cold yin qi that was gushing out quickly disappeared, and was replaced by a faint blue light. It was like the moonlight at night, sprinkling down from the dark sky. The Lan sisters are indeed geniuses in formations, Chen Mingzhu praised. 3 formation plates appeared in her hand. Following the surge of her mana, a series of mysterious spells landed on the formation plates. The 3 space formations on the ground started to flicker and a layer of faint white light appeared at the same time. The faint blue moonlight like spatial energy was instantly attracted and turned into a silk-like flowing light, landing on the surface of the formations. In an instant, the entire mountain peak was filled with a dense spatial energy. Seeing this, Chen Mingzhu did not stop. Instead, she passed a formation plate to Lu Jinyuan who was beside her. He continued to activate the spell. The formation plate with a towering mountain peak on it flew forward and floated above one of the space formations. The 5 high-grade spirit stones around the space formation lit up one by one, causing the white light to become denser and even expand. Someone is teleporting over as soon as the positioning is completed? Lu Jinyuan looked at the expanding white light and understood that the southwest region's long-distance teleportation formation had not only successfully positioned itself, but also started to teleport. Yuner Jinger, let's begin. Then, the 3 people from the Northern Yuan sect also activated their own teleportation formation. Not long after, a white light similar to a hemisphere lit up. There are people from the Northern Yuan sect coming over too. Why are they in such a hurry? Lu Jinyuan felt a little strange. The first teleportation was because the positioning had just been established, so the spatial pressure was greater. Even if a normal nascent soul stage cultivator had a teleportation talisman, it would be a little strenuous. After about 10 breaths, the white light of the southwest teleportation formation gradually dimmed, revealing 2 figures. One of them was a burly middle-aged man with a square face and short hair. The other was a beautiful woman with light gray skin. Master Lu. Lu Jinyuan looked at the person who came and was stunned. He did not expect Master Lu to personally test the teleportation formation. He was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly bowed and said, Lu Jinyuan, the leader of the Northern Yuan sect, greets Master Lu. The Lan sisters also bowed nervously. Chen Mingzhu and the other nascent soul stage cultivators of the Star Moon Pavilion even bowed with a respectful expression on their faces. In today's Taoism community, everyone knew that Master Lu was a true divine transformation cultivator. It could even be said that he was the most powerful cultivator in the world. In the face of such a terrifying powerhouse, these original infant cultivators naturally treated him like a junior and did not dare to show the slightest bit of disrespect. Lu Kuan was just about to say something when he suddenly exclaimed in surprise. He looked to the side and saw that the white light of the space array in the far north had begun to dissipate. A beautiful woman wearing a light blue dress with a cold face was revealed. As soon as she appeared, the surrounding air became cold and the few nascent soul cultivators all shivered. Grandmaster, why have you come? Looking at this lady, Lu Jinyuan was even more surprised. To think that the strongest cultivator of their Northern Yuan sect would be teleported here as well. Fairy Beihan ignored Lu Jinyuan and looked at the burly man next to the array. She looked a bit excited and bowed slightly. Greetings, Master Lu. Lu Kuan also seemed to be surprised. Why are you here, Fairy Beihan? Hearing this, Fairy Beihan was startled and said, Didn't Master Lu use the 1,000-mile talisman to inform me? Lu Kuan nodded and said, Lu just wanted to see if the 1,000-mile sound transmission array in the Tianyuan market was working properly. It seems that it has really played a role. Even in the southwest region, it can still communicate with the far north. Hearing this, Fairy Beihan's expression froze and she said with a bit of worry, Master Lu's message was just a casual message? Lu Kuan shook his head and said, Lu didn't lie to you. That thing has been sold to the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. In the next year, It will only be sold to the sects with nascent soul cultivators so that the Southwest Chamber of Commerce can keep track of it. In a year, it will be opened to the entire realm of cultivation. Itinerant cultivators, cultivation families, and ordinary people can buy it as long as they have 300 spirit stones. 300 spirit stones. Hearing this, Fairy Behan was a bit dazed. She couldn't help but rub her ears as if she was hallucinating. Lu is looking for the zombie kings of the underworld mountain, so I won't entertain you. After saying this, the air around Lu Kuan's body became blurry. Together with the beautiful gray-skinned woman, he shot towards the cold mist in the north. Seeing this, Fairy Behan waved one hand and a spirit light wrapped around Lu Jinyuan and the others. She turned into an icy blue light and flew toward the Tianyuan market. Chen Mingzhu stood on the peak of the flat top and watched Fairy Behan disappear into the Tianyuan market. She didn't look surprised at all. Instead, she turned to look at the Zhongming mountain with curiosity in her eyes. Fairy Shi's cultivation method seems to be related to the power of Yin. Pavilion Master Lu brought her here. Could it be that he wants her to guard the Zhongming mountain? Or did he want to subdue the zombie kings? Just as she was thinking, a voice came from outside. Pavilion Master Chen, I'm here. Chen Mingzhu came back to her senses. She looked at the faint golden light outside and sensed the familiar divine sense. She smiled and said, as expected, Eastern Cloud sent Taoist Shui from the Golden Sky Gate here. The spatial power has just been activated. We're just waiting for Taoist Shui to locate us. Not long after, a short old man with long light golden hair landed on the mountain peak. In the middle of the Tianyuan market was a giant 5-story building. It covered an extremely large area, with a length and width of a few hundred feet. Each floor was 50 to 60 feet high. There was an individual entrance on each floor, corresponding to the cultivators of different realms. From the light from the window, one could vaguely see that there was an endless stream of cultivators on the first 3 floors. There were also 20 to 30 people on the 4th floor. At this moment, in a small pavilion on the top floor, Fairy Behan, Lu Jinyuan and the others were sitting on a jade cattail that emitted a cold aura. In addition to them, there was also a bald old man with a mustache. The old man was an elder of the Northern Yuan sect. He had reached the peak of the midstage of the nascent soul realm. He was holding a few jade slips in his hand. He handed them to Behan Fairy respectfully and said, respectfully, Grand Elder, what is written in these jade slips is the basic body refining method that Master Lu announced to the world, the Vajra spell. Except for Fairy Behan, who was still calm, Lu Jinyuan and the Lan sisters were all stunned. Vajra spell, Junior Brother Ma, you said this is the basic cultivation method of the body refining pavilion? Are you serious? The bald old man said helplessly, almost all the sects in the Great Zhou dynasty have received the Vajra spell. How can this be fake? Lu Jinyuan and the others were in disbelief. If their Grand Elder was not here, they would have thought that they were in some kind of illusion. Master Lu announced it to the world. We saw Senior Lu just now. He was very clear-headed, unbelievable. Even Lu Jinyuan, who had cultivated in the secular world, was extremely shocked. From the rumors in the cultivation world, it was known that the cultivation method of the body refining pavilion completely ignored the chaotic essence of the world. It could be cultivated to the early stage of the soul formation realm, and its combat power was even more terrifying. Such a terrifying cultivation method, even if it was just the basic part, was extremely precious. Master Lu actually announced it to the world and sold it in the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. The bald old man was not surprised by their reactions. One had to know that the expression of Supremacy Ice Spirit, who he had just received, was very interesting. He sighed and said, Master Lu said that the basic cultivation method of the 5 elements in the Qi refinement stage costs 100 spirit stones. The Vajra spell is a little more powerful, so it is fixed at 300 spirit stones. Not to mention the sex, even ordinary itinerant cultivators can afford it. The Behan fairy reached out her snow-white hand and a jade slip flew over. The other three also took out a jade slip and started reading it eagerly. When they saw the beginning of the letter, they were all dumbfounded. It read, "In the mortal world, there was a mortal martial artist named Ling Yuetian. Chapter 1308. The few of them were puzzled. What did this Vajra arts have to do with mortal martial artists? With doubt and curiosity in their hearts, they looked behind. The bald old man sat across from them. He picked up the jade scroll and scanned it with his divine sense. He frowned as his muscles tightened and relaxed. He looked very troubled. In a short while, Lu Jinyuan and the others finished reading the first paragraph. Other than Fairy Behan, who still looked cold, the others were confused at first, then shocked and finally sighed. The Vajra esoteric art was actually created by a mortal. Lu Jinyuan lamented. In order to embark on the path of cultivation, this senior named Ling Yuetian tried to use the fine control of his muscles to trigger the spirit qi of heaven and earth. Gradually, he created a cultivation method that used spirit qi to temper the body. He abandoned the meridians and dantian and completely used the flesh and blood as the core. According to Master Lu, he obtained Senior Ling's Vajra spell by chance. That was how he was able to embark on the path of body refinement. It's a pity that Senior Ling didn't have a spirit root. Lu Jinyuan and the Lan sisters were in a daze. They were born with spirit root. Even among the cultivators, they were one of the best. Mortals without spiritual roots could not sense the existence of spiritual energy at all. If that was the case, how could they mobilize the energy of heaven and earth, not to mention tempering their bodies? They could not imagine how Ling Yuetian did it. However, even though this mortal senior was amazingly intelligent, he didn't have a spirit root. He couldn't resist the loss of his lifespan, and his strength couldn't fight against cultivators. With this life story, I commemorate one of the pioneers of body refinement, Ling Yuetian. As Lu Jinyuan muttered these words, he felt more respect for Pavilion Master Lu. Obviously, he was a person who always remembered his root. Even though he had cultivated his physical body to the divine transformation realm, he still remembered this mortal warrior in his heart. As the Vajra spell spreads, Senior Ling's name will be passed down in the cultivation world. Lan Yun'er asked curiously, Sect Master, it says that he was one of the pioneers. This means that there were other seniors who contributed to the body refinement. Lan Jing'er, who rarely spoke, suddenly said, Stupid, isn't Master Lu a pioneer? Oh. Fairy Behan sat on the side and didn't say anything. She read Ling Yuetian's story and listened to the words of the juniors. She calmed down a lot and continued to read the rest of the story. Huh? Why is it the Vajra esoteric art next? Hearing this, Lu Jinyuan's divine sense entered the jade slip again and said a little strangely, Usually, the annotations are placed at the back. Human anatomy notes? What's that? Along with this strange noun, the crowd then saw many lifelike pictures of human anatomy. From shallow to deep, the human body was marked layer by layer. Skeletal muscles, nervous system, dense bone, cancellous bone, marrow cavity, internal organs. Seeing this clear picture and the strange noun next to it, those high-level cultivators were shocked. They started to scan their own bodies with their divine sense, and compared it with the annotations on the jade slip. The fascia layer of muscles and skin, the starting and ending points of muscles and bones, the number and structure of human bones, and the function of the nervous system on the body were all very complicated. It would take a long time for normal people to completely understand. However, they were all high-level cultivators and their divine senses were extremely powerful. As long as they compared it with their own bodies, they would be able to remember it by heart. Fairy Beihan soon finished reading this part of the annotations. When she saw the cultivation method at the back, she was enlightened. No wonder the annotations were placed at the front. The cultivation method of the Vajra esoteric art was full of these strange noun words. Then, the soul formation cultivator read it a few times and tried to use the spirit qi in the world, according to the method. While Lu Jinyuan and the others were still studying the human anatomy, they suddenly felt the spirit qi around them become violent. Balls of spirit qi gathered around Fairy Beihan. Because of the rich spirit qi, there was even a strong spirit pressure. Including the bald old man, they couldn't help but look at their grand elder. Fairy Beihan was a bit shocked. The spirit qi around her disappeared. She frowned and said, "I've already formed the essence soul. I can use the spirit qi in the world with a thought." The spirit qi came before the muscles moved according to the method of the Vajra esoteric art. In this case, the spirit qi will only gather in the dantian and meridians. There's no way to transfer it to the muscles. Looks like I have to study it more. The bald old man heard this and said with a wry smile, "Master Lu said that the Vajra esoteric art can only be cultivated under the age of 50. Otherwise, the muscles will lose their flexibility due to aging. I got the Vajra esoteric art earlier, but after half a day, I still haven't figured out the first level of the muscles." Fairy Beihan saw the words, "under the age of 50, in the cultivation method. She shook her head and said, "The body of a soul formation cultivator has been strengthened once when the essence qi filled it. According to the Vajra esoteric art, the body is very active, so it might be possible to cultivate it." When she said this, her frown deepened. But after forming the essence soul, the control of the nerves in the body is not good enough and the divine soul is too strong. "It's a bit troublesome," the bald old man sighed and said. "I also feel that the control of the divine soul is stronger than the nerves. I still want to try it a few more times. Even if I can't cultivate the body refinement art, it's good to have a stronger body." Lu Jinyuan finished reading the annotations and entered the main body of the Vajra esoteric art. He didn't cultivate it right away. Instead, he read it one by one. Master Lu seems to be commemorating Master Ling Yuetian. The Vajra esoteric art is called martial artist. Level 1 to level 6 martial artist corresponds to the first level to the 6th level. That's strange. Why is the 7th level of the Vajra esoteric art called martial saint? This level should be the same as the late-stage qi refinement cultivators. What's the spirit-controlling Dharma artifact? Huh? Master Lu added a sentence. Lu Jinyuan read it aloud. After cultivating to the martial saint realm, one will reach the first bottleneck of the body refinement art. Cultivators with spiritual roots have 3 choices. The first choice is to continue cultivating traditional immortal cultivation technique. The Vajra esoteric art is only an auxiliary secret technique to strengthen the body. After research by the elders of the Body Refinement Pavilion, they found that cultivating the Vajra esoteric art is helpful in breaking through the bottleneck of foundation establishment and core formation. The second choice is to enter the Body Refinement Pavilion and cultivate the 5 elements body refinement art created by Lu. The third choice is for those with great ambitions to try to fuse the Vajra esoteric art with traditional immortal cultivation technique. According to Lu's deduction, if the fusion is successful, the traditional immortal cultivation techniques may also have a certain body tempering effect. Lan Yun'er heard it and couldn't help but laugh. Master Lu is openly competing with the entire immortal cultivation world for disciples. If those rogue cultivators succeed in cultivating the Vajra esoteric art, I'm afraid they'll choose the Body Refinement Pavilion. By the way, sect leader, do you think the disciples of the Northern Yuan sect will want to leave the sect after seeing this? As senior brother, what's wrong with you? Lan Yun'er suddenly realized that Lu Jinyuan was staring at the jade scroll in a daze, as if he had seen something inconceivable. His hands that were holding the jade scroll were trembling slightly. "Senior brother?" She then realized that her Grand Supreme Elder had a similar expression, so she looked at the bald old man. "Ahem, Junior Sister Lon, take a look at it yourself." The Grand Supreme Elder and sect leader should have seen the last part. When Senior Brother first saw it, he was even worse than them. The Lon sisters looked at each other and skipped the dissecting human anatomy diagram in the jade scroll. They scanned the contents of the cultivation technique and found the last part of the sentence that Lu Jinyuan had read. The two of them couldn't help but cover their mouth. Their identical bright eyes widened at the same time. If a mortal without spiritual roots cultivates to the martial saint realm, he can try the Body Refinement Pavilion's original secret technique to refine his sternum and weapon spiritual root. With the body of a mortal, he can embark on the path of immortal cultivation. The difficulty of refining and fusing weapon spiritual roots is not small. The main material is the inner core of a level 5 demon. Although there are demon cores that have been passed down since ancient times, they are too rare. Now that the Second Great Demon War is happening, it is an opportunity for the immortal cultivation world. The Body Refinement Pavilion will unite with all the major sects in the immortal cultivation world and use all means to trap the demon race in the broken country, so as to continuously collect demon cores. The secret technique for weapon spiritual roots was created by the Body Refinement Pavilion. Although many mortal disciples have successfully produced weapon spiritual roots, there are still some flaws. The pavilion will announce it to the world before the arrival of the demon race's army. Chapter 1309. Seeing Lu Kuan's last sentence, everyone was unable to calm down for a long time. After a while, Fairy Beihan murmured, "The Body Refining Pavilion actually created such a heaven-defying creation. Mastery of the Vajra spell and a level 5 demonic core should be the two most basic requirements. If that's the case, all the sects in the immortal cultivation world will join the war against the demons and fight for the demonic cores." Lan Yun'er heard this and was a little confused. "But Grandmaster, there are so many mortals. Even if the Vajra spell is difficult to cultivate, there are still many martial saints. Isn't there a limit to the number of demons who can cross over? No matter how many demonic cores there won't be enough to go around. The immortal cultivation sects spend so much effort to snatch the demonic cores and recruit mortal martial saints. I feel that it's better to nurture a few immortal cultivation families." Fairy Beihan didn't say anything, but Lu Jinyuan said, "These demonic cores are not for mortal martial saints to snatch." Seeing the Lan sisters' confused expression, he explained, "The inheritance of spirit roots is not 100%. Even if 2 celestial spirit roots are combined, there is a chance that the child will not have spirit root. All the nascent soul elders of the major sects, including our Northern Yuan sect, have mortal children. Although these people can't cultivate, they are the descendants of high-level cultivators after all. They are usually arranged to take care of the secular forces. Now that such an unimaginable method of obtaining the artifact spiritual root has appeared, these nascent soul stage cultivators will definitely be tempted. This means that those who do not have artifact spiritual roots will have a chance to enter the immortal cultivation realm. So that's how it is. The Lan sisters had always been studying the Tao of Array. They didn't have a dual cultivation partner and didn't come into contact with the mortal world, so they naturally didn't know about this. At this point, Lu Jinyuan's tone was full of admiration. Master Lu has really killed 2 birds with 1 stone by publicizing the Vajra spell. First, it will increase the strength of the entire immortal cultivation world. Even if cultivators under the age of 50 can't cultivate the Vajra spell, the next generation of cultivators will definitely have a lot of improvement. At least their bodies will be much stronger. Secondly, the major sects will focus their energy on researching the Vajra esoteric art, greatly reducing their desire for the body refining technique. Moreover, they will also have to prevent their disciples from being tempted by the body refining technique and defecting to the body refining pavilion. Thirdly, the body refining pavilion will also win over people's hearts because of the announcement of the Vajra esoteric art. As more and more cultivators join, its strength will become stronger and stronger. Fourthly, all the high-level immortal cultivators who have mortal children probably want more core formation stage devil soldiers. They will only look forward to war, not fear it. Hearing Lu Jinyuan's analysis, the Lan sisters looked at their sect master with admiration. The bald old man was not too surprised. He admired this senior brother sect master very much. Not only was his cultivation speed astonishing, but he also saw through all kinds of things very clearly. The Beihan fairy also looked at Lu Jinyuan with a hint of satisfaction. Lu Jinyuan didn't seem to notice the look on his sect master's face. Instead, he asked, "Junior brother Ma, it says that after a mortal cultivator reaches the 7th level of the Vajra esoteric art, he can use a spirit-controlling Dharma artifact to fight with a late-stage Qi refinement cultivator. Do you know what a spirit-controlling Dharma artifact is?" The bald old man said, "Junior apprentice brother, I heard from the fellow Taoists in the body refining pavilion that this is an artifact that they created themselves. Spirit stones need to be installed in it. A martial saint can use his divine sense and the ability of his muscles to control spirit qi to activate the spirit-controlling artifact. With the help of the martial saint's power, it is even more powerful than a late-stage qi refinement cultivator's Dharma artifact. Although the body refining pavilion didn't announce the refining method, it will be sold through the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. But if you want to buy it, you have to show your martial saint body and register with the Southwest Chamber of Commerce in addition to the spirit stones." Lu Jinyuan looked at the jade slip in his hand and murmured, "The Vajra art will definitely spread to the mortal world in the future. As mortals start to cultivate this body refining art, a large number of martial saints will appear. With the help of this spirit-controlling Dharma artifact, mortal martial artists will enter the world of immortal cultivators. Cultivators above the foundation establishment level will be fine, but Qi refinement cultivators will be greatly affected. After all, compared to immortal cultivators, the number of mortals is too terrifying." Hearing this, the Beihan fairy thought for a while and said, "Ma Feng, you should go to the market in the far north and be in charge of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce's branch, right?" The bald old man nodded and said, "Yes, Grand Elder. But as for the profit sharing, we still need the sect master to discuss with Cultivator Qin of the body refining pavilion." The Beihan fairy said, "With this spirit-controlling Dharma artifact, the Southwest Chamber of Commerce will earn a lot of spirit stones in the future. Jinyuan, you go and deal with it. Try to get as much as possible without offending the body refining pavilion." "Yes, Grandmaster." The Beihan fairy continued, "If mortal martial saints can fight with late-stage Qi refinement cultivators, they can also replace some of the immortal cultivators. Jinyuan, you should have a lot of ideas. If you want to change the rules and add mortal martial saints into the sect, do it. I will help you." Hearing this, Lu Jinyuan smiled and said, "Yes, Grandmaster. I have a lot of ideas. I will go back and think about it carefully before I report back to you." The Beihan fairy said, "Okay, you can continue with your work. I will go back first." Hearing this, the bald old man quickly took out a Dharma artifact and activated the array of the pavilion. The Beihan fairy flashed and disappeared outside the door. After the soul formation cultivator left, the bald old man's expression relaxed a lot. He smiled and said, "Senior apprentice brother, since you've come, then stay for a few more days. Junior apprentice brother will introduce you to a fellow Taoist in body refining pavilion." Fellow Taoist Pan Yin is the direct disciple of Pavilion Master Lu. It is said that he has just broken through to the middle bone transformation realm and his strength is unfathomable. Bone change? What is that? Lu Jinyuan asked curiously. It is the name of the body refining art. It is equivalent to the nascent soul level. His cultivation art is called the essence earth body refining art. In addition, his body is special and focuses on the defense of the body. He also has a special divine power. Junior brother is also at the mid-stage of nascent soul level, but even if Pan Yin stands still, I can't hurt him. That's amazing. Let's get to know each other. Hearing this, Lu Jinyuan's interest was piqued. Then, under the bald old man's lead, they walked out deep in the Huatian temple. 2 monks sat cross-legged in a side hall. There were antique wooden furniture around them, and a handsome monk's portrait was hanging on the table in front of them. These 2 people were none other than Abbot Zhiyuan and his junior brother Zhiyuan. The former had his hands clasped together, and was stroking a string of Buddhist beads while chanting some kind of scripture. The latter was holding a jade slip and reading it with rapt attention. After a long time, Zhiyuan slowly opened his eyes and said with great admiration, I didn't expect Master Lu to have such amazing attainments in the art of refining. He actually used a human sternum as a material for a magic tool. He also extracted the essence of the demonic pill and fused it with the sternum to refine the tool spirit root. However, the fusion method of the tool spirit root is not small. Speaking of this, Zhiyuan asked again, by the way, senior brother, how did you get the method of refining the tool spirit root? Didn't Master Lu say that he would only release it when the war with the demon race starts? Abbot Zhiyuan stopped chanting and did not answer directly. Instead, he said, you should know that 3 years ago, I invited Master Lu to come here. I wanted him to lead the demon race with the bloodline of the long-armed giant ape and resolve the hatred between the 2 sides. At that time, although Master Lu refused, he accepted the land demon race in the end. Not long ago, his disciple, Pan Yin, came to Huatian Temple and gave me the method of refining the Vajra scripture and the tool spirit root. He said that I would understand Master Lu's intention after reading it. Zhiyuan was a little confused. Senior brother, you want Master Lu to resolve the hatred between the demon race and the demon race? What does this have to do with the tool spirit root? Zhiyuan sighed and said, you are proficient in the art of refining. Take a closer look at this secret technique. If you replace the demonic pill with the demonic pill, then think about it again. Zhiyuan was stunned for a moment. Then, he focused and deduced. His mouth gradually opened. If you replace it with the demonic pill, this method seems to be more suitable. No, this secret technique seems to be modified from the demonic pill. Zhiyuan chanted and said, obviously, the body refining pavilion has already researched the method of refining the tool spirit root. Originally, it used the demonic pill. 3 years ago, Master Lu obtained a few demonic pills in the Broken Nation and modified it. If it was immediately announced, the other old fellows would naturally deduce the method of using the demonic pill after analyzing it. Master Lu changed it to the demonic pill and delayed the announcement. He wanted to use the immortal cultivator's greed to suppress the demon race's fear. This method, this old monk really admires it. At this point, he paused and said, however, Master Lu taught this method to this old monk first. He wanted us Buddhist cultivators to give up on the demon race. There is a more important conflict that we need to resolve. Zhiyuan had some guesses in his heart, but he still asked, what conflict? Amitabha Great Spiritual Overlord Buddha. Zhiyuan chanted and said, Master Lu accepted to reconcile the demon race on land. This means that the sea demons in the sea are his targets to hunt for the demonic pill. The sea is much bigger than the land, and there are countless sea demons of the 5th level and above. In the future, there will be more and more mortal cultivators. Although we are all humans, the immortal cultivators do not have the concept of equality. They are high and mighty and do not care about mortals. With the popularization of the Vajra esoteric art and spiritual controlling Dharma artifacts, the mortals who have grown stronger will definitely have conflicts with the immortal cultivators. We Buddhists have to prepare in advance to prevent the humans from killing each other. This old monk has some arrangements that I need to discuss with junior brother. Hearing this, Ji Yuan's expression became very serious. He listened attentively. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.